Hey, everybody, it's Adam. Just before the podcast gets started, I want to let you guys know that this episode's a little bit different than what we normally have been putting out on this feed. I want to give you guys a little sample here at the end of the year to possibly push you into helping support the show over at patreon.com/HMP in the new year. So what you're about to hear is our pre-show, then the Dinger Zone, and then the actual Best of 2018 episode. So again, just want to give you guys a little bit of a taste of what you might be missing if you are not a member of patreon.com/HMP. We like to have a little bit of fun. And again, I get teased about it on the show, but value for value. We hope that, if you get something out of this show, you'll help promote this show as well. And we do have that best by heading on over to patreon.com/HMP. Now, if you want to get to the regular show, that's about 37, 38 minutes into the feed here if you just want to listen to that best of and everything. But if not, follow along for the pre-show, Dinger Zone, and of course stick around for the post-show after the fact as well. And hope you guys have a fantastic rest of 2018 for a couple hours that it's left. And have a great 2019. We'll see you guys there.
Hello.
And then for some reason this week, you appear live and online. Listen, I can't tell you how Skype works.
Yeah, I had to slip a $20 bill to the Skype people.
It's just like, hey, will you make this work, please? It's not working. Another year in the bag, man.
I'm kind of surprised how long Skype has kind of held on to their thing with nobody doing it right. Like, Skype really feels like a MySpace just waiting for a Facebook to come along, but it hadn't happened.
Yeah, and there have been a couple of people that were like, "Oh yeah, we'll totally be we'll be the next Skype. We're the next thing," and doesn't do much of nothing. And the only reason Skype, I think, maybe is still as ubiquitous as it is just because it was bought by Microsoft.
Yeah,
and that of course also slowed the delay. Well, it made some things fast, and then a lot of other things not so hot.
Or even like, I'm kind of surprised there's not some kind of, I don't know if it'd be business-oriented or entertainment-oriented, but even there's not even like a premium service. Like if I said, you know what, screw it, I'm willing to pay $1,000 a year for good VoIP. It's just not out there.
Yeah, I would say, I think if they were smart, but this is not their wheelhouse, but with the direction it looks like Rode is tracking, because they seem to be the only people that are like, hey, maybe podcasters are actually people too.
Yeah.
That if they went, and added on a service side as opposed to just hardware mostly, that, if somebody came along and like did it really, really well, boy, they could clean up. But they'd have to be public facing enough from the get-go, I think.
And I beta tested. Zencastr. I beta tested Zencastr, and they had a great idea where you would single track record on your end, and they would sync them for you.
Mm-hmm.
But when I did it, they had some technical issues with bleed, which were just unfortunate. You know what I mean? Like,
too much for
for whatever reason, they couldn't cut out the bleed as well. Like, it couldn't do a mix minus, essentially, which seems like it should be an easy thing for their software to do. But that was beta testing too, so who knows? Maybe it's better now. Something to look into on down the road, perhaps.
Hey, for nothing. At least Skype has finally done just built-in mix minus. They've gotten the technology well enough to where you don't even have to. I don't have to have a second outboard sound card now.
Yeah, and that's why it's kind of weird that Zencastr couldn't do that. And I think their excuse was that the mics were so sensitive they were picking up bleed from the headphones, but I don't believe that, man. I've never gotten that when I just do my own single track recording.
And I'll tell you this much: I keep my headphones fairly loud.
Me too.
And my face fairly close to the microphone. And sometimes I'll even at the close, like I am right now, pick up an ear off. One ear is open now. You can't hear me echoing back through the thing. It's bullcrap.
And every now and then, if I do hear like a headphone echo, it sounds like an echo, not a bleed. Like this was a technical bleed that they just weren't owning up to.
Oh yeah.
And if they fix that, that's a service I would have paid for 5 years ago. I don't know if I would now. I don't know. After putting up with doing it the way I've been doing it for so long, I don't know if it'd be worth it now. 5 years ago when I was starting out.
But if somebody came out and was just like, "Hey, here's a great thing, rock solid service. Everyone's going to sound awesome. You'll get it back in, a multi-track mix, no matter how many people you got in there. You'll have a multi-track mix that you can do whatever you want with, and we'll send it back out to you that way." You could easily charge $10 a month, and I think that would be a very powerful podcasting business for.
And that's exactly what Zencastr was doing for free in beta, but they were getting that bleed problem.
Yeah, well, you got to have the technology to back the darn thing. That's for sure.
And the thing is, I don't think the technology would be that hard. That's what I don't get. It's just anything free, man. It's gonna. You got to have people that are really, really into the big picture money making to do something that's good for free in the beginning.
Well, yeah. I mean, or just do your darndest and pray that you're like a WhatsApp or something like that. Then some giant corporation comes and buys you for $78 billion and what?
But you know how good like some of the really well produced podcasts sound, where they do solo tracks and then somebody actually takes the time to sync them and edit them in post, which takes longer than the recording does. But if Zencastr could automate that, man, that would be a nice service. We would sound great.
Right, Sean?
Right.
How are you, my friend?
I'm good. I was experiencing technical difficulty, so give me like 30 seconds.
Okie doke.
But only 30.
How's the weather in that aluminum shed you're in?
Give me a second. I'm not near my microphone.
Oh, okay. That explains it then. Adam.
Yeah.
If you've ever got like
Lordy,
4 or 5 hours to kill on a Sunday afternoon and you just want some like nice, fun podcasting in jokes, you need to go listen to the podcast. I think I mentioned it to you guys a few months back, called Raw Raw Riverdale.
Yeah, it's the one where they're basically baiting fans, right?
The Bald Move guys, who are very experienced podcasters, and they were both worked in IT before they started podcasting, and they just sort of set out to do a really good impersonation of every like throwaway podcaster that does like 9 episodes of a show and never goes back to it.
Right.
Oh man, they did the great one, Adam, which I know you would get a kick out of. But there was one episode where they said, "All right, well, we ordered some really nice new microphones, and next week you'll really hear the improvement." And then the next week, it honestly sounded like they went to Radio Shack and got like those cheapest line-in mics. Like, I don't even mean real microphones, but the kind you plug into a little tape recorder when you're 7 years old. Oh, it was great. It was golden.
Oh man, that's so funny.
And then they put a bunch of they did the thing where they read every single iTunes review at the end of an episode. And then the people that still hadn't caught on that they were trolling their listeners complained about how they went on way too long. And he said, "I think the problem was that we put it at the end of the episode. So we're going to go ahead and do it now at the beginning of the episode." And 20 minutes of reading all the iTunes reviews before they started.
Oh man, that's so great.
And then like their next to last episode was, "Well, we really can't wait for next week's season finale. We're really going to get into it. I'm so excited." Then the next week, they just put out a quick one. "Sorry, we haven't had time to record yet. We'll be back soon." And that was the last one they ever did.
That's so good.
That's
like
that
a year and a half
so
ago.
accurate for podcasts. It's fantastic.
I mean, it's just like everything that I ran into when I was like first starting, all these other people first starting, trying to team up or whatever. You know how it goes.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And it's just great. Like every single common worst practice, there's always best practice recommendations or whatever. It was like every single worst practice was going on there.
It's so good.
And then what was great is they weren't really watching the show. They were just watching like the previews and the next on, and then talking about the whole show. They would try to make their predictions by just like saying the things they saw on the next on and then claiming they nailed it every week.
So have they admitted to this yet or no?
Well, they've admitted to it on their Bald Move feed, but they never went back on that Raw Raw Riverdale feed.
Man, that's so good.
Oh, my favorite prediction was, do you have any predictions for next week? And he goes, well, I'm going to go out on a limb here, but I think we haven't seen the last of Archie.
Hey, 97 ratings, most of them 5 stars, so it looks like a good chunk were in on it.
Yeah, their Bald Move fan base found out about it somehow pretty quickly and went on there giving them all the 5-star reviews so that actual Riverdale fans would think that was the go-to podcast. Because they had the most reviews. They were the highest rated Riverdale podcast in the first season. It was great.
That level of trollery is just, love it.
Yeah, I wish I had thought of it.
Get away with a couple of these DC programs, and they would, people just come a-flocking, man. All right.
Yeah, my idea for a troll podcast was to do a podcast that just talked about the Bald Move Game of Thrones podcast. Never, ever talk about the show. Just talk about like what I thought of the two.
They weren't on the top of their game this week.
Yeah, their inflection, their volume, if I thought their levels were good, if they went too long, not long enough.
I hate to be the guy to say this, but man, 3 weeks ago they were on fire. I just don't know what's happened. It seems that each week we're at a brand new low.
Have you remember, because there was that podcast about cereal, and it had to be the first time I'd ever seen that, where, hey, there's a podcast about a podcast now.
Oh, I was thinking Cereal. I was like, oh, I'm into this, man. I like cereal. I was totally going the wrong direction, and not like in a funny, ironic way, like trying to be a smartass. I honestly thought it was going to be like the Eat Snacks podcast or something.
We need to find the murderer of Cap'n Crunch.
Mike and Tom Eat Snacks.
Yeah, that's the one.
Cap and or Crunch.
If I did that, it would just be Raisin Bran every week. That's the problem.
Well, how's your breakfast going? Regular. Pretty regular. That's how it's treating me. All right. I don't know that I have anything for a Dinger Zone. I've been just working nonstop.
Yeah. You can just talk about New Year's resolutions in the broad sense, not like specifically what ours are.
All kinds of broads. Got it. Dinger. Dinger. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition, the last edition for 2018 of the Dinger Zone. My name is Adam. That over there is Sean.
Hi.
And that is Bruce.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen.
And for the last time in 2018, this is your Dinger Zone. And Bruce, you have some ideas, taking us in the breath of a new year, no?
Oh, man, we could go two different directions here. We could look back or we could look forward. We could look back to Christmas presents or we could look forward to New Year's resolutions. I'm curious to see what your guys' take is on New Year's resolutions. And if that well runs dry in about 7 minutes, we can talk about Christmas or something.
Well, let's go in order. Let's go Christmas, because I do have something to talk about there for sure.
Yeah.
And how, and I don't know how many people, I think our audience, tends to skew a little bit older, especially, when it comes to the Patreon people, because they have disposable income. Thank you very much, by the way. We love you. But when was the time when you guys were realized Christmas for me is over as kind of a kid, and you were more excited to get adult stuff, i.e. just adult things that, wouldn't be considered like, ooh, what a present. You wouldn't be rushing downstairs at the age of 9 to open this present up.
I'll have to get back to you on that.
Yeah, me too.
I don't know.
There is an ongoing thing in my house where both my kids and my lady know that if there isn't any good ideas for me for either my birthday or for Christmas, just get something Star Wars. I mean, they know that already.
My prize gift this year for Christmas was a G.I. Joe Sky Striker airplane that was painted and badged out to look like a Decepticon jet Skywarp.
Dang.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that was my prize gift this year for Christmas. So I don't know that I've really ever moved on. There may be 5 Christmases total around the college time where I didn't get something that could be considered a toy or a game, and that would be it out of the totality of my life.
I mean, I suppose I always get you always get like a little something, but I'll tell you, I've gotten to the point where for me, Christmas, because, you're an adult and if you want something, you go and buy it, by and large, But for me, I like someone to buy the things for me that I have to buy, but I'd rather not spend my money on that kind of thing.
Oh, yeah. That's why, I had to have that jet plane that was painted to look like a Decepticon, but I was glad that someone else bought it for me. But for your Christmas gift, you want somebody to pay your health insurance? Actually, that's not a bad Christmas
See, exactly. That's not bad. But when you go man, I really could use some new underwear or like undershirts or something, or just stupid little crap like that. Or socks. Oh God. As an adult, I never thought I'd see the day where I was just like, oh, sweet socks.
Man, I'm going to be honest with you. Since I've been married, I don't exactly know when my new underwear come into the drawer. It just kind of happens.
He just opens it up and
I've never put on a pair of underwear that were 10 years old, but I haven't bought underwear in 10 years. So I don't really know what's going on.
She does all the dirty work. So no, she's just look, he's not going to do it. So I have to put the power in my own hands and just make the decisions.
I mean, if it were left up to me, I would be skating by in some pretty threadbare drawers,
Yeah, no, believe you me, I know. I think every guy knows.
Why spend money on underwear when there's so many comics I don't own?
It was that old it's that old Seinfeld bit. Guys just hold on to underwear forever until the window opens up and they float away like dandelion spores.
Yeah. But yeah, man, my daughter got a PS4 with the Red Dead Redemption 2 package, a PS4 Pro. So you may have heard,
So now your daughter can just go around just killing all the scum in the world. Perfect.
Well, man, there's been a lot of buzz about Red Dead Redemption 2, the best-selling piece of entertainment ever, or something crazy like that.
Pretty great.
Have you seen that in the headlines?
Yeah, something akin to. I think it did
it's outsold not only any video game, it's outsold any Blu-ray, DVD, VHS tape, any kind of home entertainment. It's the best. That opening weekend sold more units than any other home entertainment item ever, is what I was told.
Yeah, it was just I forget what the number was, but it was something just unbelievably large, and you would be like a movie
7
would,
Brazilian.
Yeah, movie would just kill to have that kind of opening box office.
But, it seems like it's going to be one of those things where, when DVDs first came out, everybody had the Matrix, the first Matrix.
Oh, yeah.
Or when CDs came out, everybody had a certain CD, which I can't think of right now. But this will be the thing where, you have a PS4, then you must own Red Dead Redemption 2.
And I'm going to tell you, man, I played it for about 2. Well, she played it, and I kind of yelled at her while she played for about 2 hours. I called it cooperative playing. I'm pretty darn impressed. I think it deserves it, man. I haven't, I've not been that much of a video game kind of guy. I dabbled a little bit on some stuff on the Switch with my kids. I had an actual original PlayStation, then I had an Xbox 360 for a little while, but I was never that into video games. So I'm sure that a lot of innovations have happened over the years that I've just been blind to. So it's like if the last time you saw a movie was on your grandma's old VHS player, then you had no access to movies for a long time. Then you saw a 4K Blu-ray. I think that's the kind of effect it had on me. But my goodness, I'm impressed. And the story's great. I wouldn't mind just watching the cutscenes all the way through for about 4 hours.
I actually do that from time to time because they do that. You can watch cutscenes as if they're movies on YouTube, and I do that quite a bit.
But I am very impressed with this Red Dead Redemption 2. Now, the gameplay, man, makes me a nervous wreck when you're trying to shoot hungry wolves coming at you. I'm pretty sure my character's a werewolf now. He got bit. But, I loved it, man. I was just so impressed. It was a lot of fun. I did not I expected it to be one of those things where, like E.T., the video game, everybody has to have it for Christmas, and then it's just this huge letdown kind of thing.
Right.
Or like, what was it that never came out? Duke Nukem 3D or something, Adam?
Oh, it eventually came out, and it was as big of a flop as you might have imagined it could have been.
Yeah, so I thought this is just going to be some more overrated garbage that I'm not interested in, with people walking awkwardly against walls and stuff. But man, I could not believe how good this was and how good the CGI is. It makes me wonder, like, how much longer are we going to need anything other than voice actors?
It's pretty good. There's always little improvements, but man, once that first one came out, that was the first Rockstar game that I ever beat. With all their open world stuff, I like the GTAs and stuff, but I never beat any of those games until Red Dead. And then it felt to me with Red Dead that's where they really started getting into, hey man, this should be like a really, really, really good story. And they did the same thing with Grand Theft Auto 5, which I completed as well, because again, the story was so compelling that you kept playing. And, Red Dead's the same way, where it's just like, we're going to draw you in with this awesome narrative, and you're going to play this, depending upon how much you get into it, umpteen-hour movie,
The weird thing is I have absolutely zero interest in Grand Theft Auto, but you make all the criminals into cowboys, and I'm there.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, it's super fun.
I feel the pull from this game that I never felt with a Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah, just being able to, like... And they introduced with the new game mechanics with the first one and everything. Being able to do the Deadeye shot was just something that was just so unique and cool that it had that moment. It had that moment of cool, and you couldn't do it all the time. But when you could do it and you pulled it off really well, just such an amazingly good feeling. And they put that carrot in front of you really, really well in those games.
And with Red Dead Redemption 2, the story mode is what I'm talking about, is really good. I've heard that there's some serious issues with the online mode.
Which
the
there's
online
always going to be with
messed
that kind
up.
of stuff.
Yeah. And to be honest, if I wanted a bunch of people to make fun at how incompetent I was and call me bad names, I've got family for that. I don't need to play online mode. I just like story mode.
I don't have to take this. I can go home and get it there. But no, for me, my online days are pretty much over, I think. Old man is too much with the video. I was just like, I can't listen. I don't need some 13-year-old to, ream me a new one and then call me every name in the book. My life is worth a little bit more than that.
But hasn't that gotten a lot better over the last couple of years? I'm pretty sure it has.
I don't know, man. My son, if allowed, my son will spend every waking hour playing Fortnite, and there's still plenty of the worst of the worst out there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It just brings it out of people, man. I don't know what it is, but the scum, floats right to the top.
And just imagine when you were a kid playing Nintendo, NES, or maybe if you're going back a little further, Atari 2600, and all the rage that would sometimes build up in you, and the only thing keeping you in check was that your cousin was bigger and could punch you in the nose if you said what you were thinking. Take away that fist to the nose, and you're going to be saying the same stuff, no matter what the game is or when.
There's zero consequences for me. Turn it to 11.
Yeah. And not to mention, man, everybody under the age of 70 has a dream of being a YouTube streamer now. So even when people aren't actually recording anything, they're trying to do their shtick.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's oh jeez.
So I used to.
Jeez,
I'm not gonna do it anymore. I used to when I did this is a couple years back. I was playing like Halo or something online, and you'll just get to talking with people, and because something to do, and you strategize a little bit, but mostly you're just kind of BSing and joking around and whatever. And so this one cat, I just did it off the hand, Hank Hill, and then this cat all of a sudden I became like his jukebox. It's just like, oh, do the Hank Hill again. I'm just like, what am I, a monkey here? I'm trying to you do it a second time. It's like, then after that, I'm done. I'm really done at this point. But he keeps going back. Come on, man. And I'm just like, I'm not an impression guy, but I'll throw a couple others in there for you. Get something in, there's something else other than this here. No, man, that's no good. Do the Hank Hilly. I'm like, I gotta block this guy. I gotta block this guy because he's just trying to get me to do impressions.
See, the last time I did any kind of online game-related voice chat, I did it on my computer here where I had the mixer hooked up, And in the background, I just had YouTube 3 hours of fart noises playing. And I made no comment. And, every time one of those went up, I was like, was that you? Was that you? Who's doing that? Because there are like 4 or 5 people on the convo. I was like, who's doing that? Who's doing that?
Which one of you?
So good.
I know what I'm seeing your meter rise when you start talking. What are you talking about? That's Phantom. That's a bug in the system. We all know that.
Oh, man. Yeah, I lit up
lie.
Discord with the sound of music before.
Oh, there's music in the hills, all right, I'll tell you. So future, what are you? Do we have any like?
Well, I'm curious from you guys.
Mm-hmm.
What's like your just general philosophy on the concept of a New Year's resolution?
I'm always just try to do a little better than you did last year. That's all. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But you know,
I mean, do you feel like the whole principle of a New Year's resolution is kind of? I mean, I think for the most part, the bulk of people I talk to think it's just kind of a weird artificial concept anyway.
Yeah.
You know, like when the year starts is kind of arbitrary, and the idea of a resolution. I mean, most people have the idea nobody ever sticks to their resolutions. I don't know. How do you guys feel about just that general concept?
I see Sean as hating resolutions and anyone who does a resolute.
Yeah, where did that come from?
I
No,
don't,
man.
I don't know. I just
He's trying to make you talk. He's trying to make you talk. Do you ever make New Year's resolutions, Sean?
Yeah, constantly, man. I make them every year.
Oh, really? What
Yeah.
kind of luck do you have with them?
Depends. It varies. Like last year's was no cola. And so I went 8 months without drinking cola.
Wow, that's pretty impressive.
picked up a
Yeah.
hardcore heroin habit, but no cola.
Well, it's about being a better person, and I like that. I always strive to build a better machine.
I only make a New Year's resolution if there's something I'm really wanting to do, or I've thought for a long time I'm going to do this, but if there's never like, okay, today's the day you start sort of moment. And for most of my life, I haven't made any. The first real big one that I made was when I said, you know what, this is the year I'm going to do a little stand-up comedy. You know, had been a big fan, and I was not a young guy. You know, I'm in my 30s before I ever started, and it showed. But so I spent like 3 months just kind of working on material before I even like went to an open mic or anything. So it was one of those that could be real easy to just always be working on material but never do it. But my birthday's in March, and I had like a drop-dead date that I had to do it before my birthday. No matter how bad it was, I could do it once, hate it, then I don't ever have to do it again. And I kind of did that, you know. So that was one of the first ones I really stuck to. And then a few years later, you know, was podcasting was a New Year's resolution in 2013. So here we are going into my 6th year since then. And that was another big one where I stuck to it and put myself into it. And then the last time I made one was the writing thing, where I said, I'm going to write 4 books this year. And then I took a year and I wrote 4 books and then got that done, wrote a 5th one just to kind of seal the deal. And now I'm kind of figuring out what the next big thing is. But I would rather not make a resolution than to make one that I know I'm not going to stick with, because
Right.
I think there's like a negative psychological effect that outdoes the possible positives if you really don't think that it's something tangible, productive. You know, to lose weight. Well, I don't know, man. You should be wanting to lose weight if you're way too much like I do, regardless of the year, you know?
Mine's like, try to wake up before noon.
I'm really trying to figure out if I want to do one this year, because I like to make it grand and I like to hold myself to it, but I can't really think of what I want to do.
Yeah, I've got a pretty big one this year, as a matter of fact. I want to finish a book this year. I want to make a book this year, write a book this year.
Oh, I thought you meant like finish reading one. That sounds like what Adam's
Hey,
resolution.
that's me over here, doggone it. Come on now. That's my, don't be stealing my bits.
I want to write a book this year, and I want to write a screenplay that I've had in my head that was 2 different screenplays, and make one screenplay out of it. And I hope to have those 2 things done by the end of this year.
I can't wait to have someone read them for me.
And
Just let me know what they're about.
I may have the proper I don't want to call, I don't know what I would call them, the proper connection, friend, the liaison, that's the word.
Ooh.
I may have the proper liaison to help me get over some of the roadblocks I run into with artists, that I might try to do my own, my first self-published comic arc. I don't know how many issues or what I'll aim for. Mm-hmm. But I might do that this year because I've never done the self-published comic thing. I could have a few issues to take to some small cons, set up a table, try to hack a few, or not hack a few. What do you call it? Hawk a few. Try to hawk a few for $5 each here and there. Maybe that's something I'll look into. But I'm not putting my feet to the fire just yet. I've got a day to make up my mind.
Nice.
Take 24 hours and come back.
Now, with your book, man, are you thinking fiction or nonfiction?
Well, I have two. I have like two ideas that have been kicking around in my head. The first one that I would do is actually both of them are nonfiction. Now I'm thinking about it.
Very cool.
One is a self-help book, and the other one would be the Stallone Connection thing.
Oh, see, I'm all on board either one of those ideas, man. I support you wholeheartedly.
Stallone Connection, and then a book about rambling. Oh, I love it.
Well, the self-help is for creative people because, in my opinion, creative people have been taught wrong. And like the starving artist is a ridiculous concept to me.
No, I think I agree.
At times I've thought about like the George Costanza approach to self-help, where I just admit right off when I start writing the book that every instinct I've ever had has been wrong. Every major decision I've ever made in life has been the wrong decision. I'm constantly dealing with failure and doubt. So I'm just going to tell you what I think is the right thing to do so you know what to avoid. Like I've kind of thought of that approach.
Oh, so you're reading my book. Because listen, I make a New Year's resolution to this. I will not write a book. That just won't happen. So just to quelch any rumors that might be going around. I know there's been some talk here and there, but I will not be writing a book no matter how much you ask. So don't count on that.
When are you going to finish that coloring book, Adam?
He's out of crayons. Give him a break.
I got big hands, and with the crayons, they're so tiny.
These big hands.
It's never a good sign when you go through the box of crayons by the third page. You're laying it on a little thick there, Adam.
Hey, listen, I get a little pensive.
The coloring book weighs 7 pounds.
I get a little pensive, so I chew on the back ends of the crayons. And I'm just like, I want to get this right, and it's tough, Sometimes I'm giving myself permission to be me this year. What other what kind of crap do people say all the time?
Adam, I think this is the year you make the commitment to become a crooner.
Oh, I don't know that I could.
I think you could pull it off, man. A little lounge act. I think you could do it.
Well,
you just got to know when not to commit to the note and do a little bit of the talk sing thing. I think you got it.
Yeah, no, that's a good one. Yeah, when you can't hit that. See, that's why I like you say that, but like with karaoke and stuff, I'll do like Living on a Prayer. But the whoa is like a really tough part in that to hit consistently all the time. That's the time that you throw it out to the crowd. They're all ready to do it, and if they do it off key, it doesn't really matter. So I know exactly what you're talking about.
I always do 1 week at karaoke because then I've got an excuse. It's impossible to keep up with that song.
Listen, I can't do anything with this, folks. He just throws up his hands and just goes, "What am I to do?"
Have a stroke 2 minutes into the song.
I do love the people that attempt to do "It's the End of the World," and I feel fine.
Oh, yeah.
And like they just go like, "Oh, I know this song." It's like you don't know that song. You think you know the song. You may know a few things here and there, but you're just going to look like a blubbering idiot. But every now and then, there's that one person that comes in there and just blows it away. And boy, is it worth sitting through all the crummy ones to get to that good one? I posit that it is.
Why does it sound like you've been at a karaoke bar and just hundreds and hundreds of people have attempted to sing that song?
Listen, if it's 4, it's 1,000,000, okay?
Now, Blues Traveler's The Hook is one I like to pay attention to because most of that song is extremely easy to karaoke.
Yeah, and then it
has that one spot that separates the experienced women and men from the boys and girls.
See what you do to me. This MTV is not for free. Indeed, it's tough. Yeah, if you don't get it, you're going to be stumbling and mumbling over that one real fast, and everyone else is going to be like, look at that boob who tried to get up here and do karaoke. What a mess.
I always bring my own harmonica for that song.
Dude, don't think that that's not like something that I would love to be able. Like I own several harmonicas. I am terrible at all of them because it's an impossible instrument to learn unless you just got an ungodly amount of patience and time, and of which I don't have either one of those. So, but man, that would be cool.
You know the really giant harmonicas that are like the size of a Casio keyboard?
Yeah, the one that where you get into a giant set of overalls with Barney, and then play one of those.
I've always kind of wanted to have one of those. Maybe that's my New Year's resolution, to buy a giant
There you
harmonica.
go. See, you were kind of flip-flopping around, and now you nailed it.
Yeah, he's got it. He's so hopefully that'll be something that it comes in your New Year's Eve wish as well. Get yourself the largest mouth organ you can find, everybody. I'll leave that one alone. That is it for this episode of the Dinger Zone. We will see you guys next week. Dinger. Dinger. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the last Hero Movie Podcast for 2018. I am your host, Adam Portrais, and I'm joined by Sean Koufax.
See ya, 2018.
And, of course, Bruce Leslie.
I'm a prickly pear, and Shaun Koufax is Sandy Koufax's grandson.
Shaun.
Oh, man, there's so much that goes behind the scenes here. If you only knew about it. Oh, you can know about a good bit of it by being one of the people that help support this show. And we want to thank everybody who, over the course of 2018, has helped support Hero Movie Podcast over at patreon.com/HMP. Pre-show, post-show, you get the Dinger Zone. That's at least like 20-plus minutes every single week. On top of this, oh, my goodness, I don't know how you could get much more value, and that's what we like. We like to give out value to those who can help give some value to us. So head on over to patreon.com/HMP, and we'd like to thank all of those lovely executive producers that have helped this show going all throughout the year.
And just in case nobody knows, value means money when Adam says it.
Yes.
Some would say that it's value for value, which is a term that doesn't mean anything.
Sure it does. It absolutely does.
Value for value.
Your money for our bloviating.
Exactly. Hey, listen, I think our bloviating is some of the most bloviatingest that ever did be. So I think we're doing just fine. But we're here this week not to do what we normally do, which is break down a superhero movie or television program. No, we're here to talk about the year that was in HMP. Look back and see what we kind of covered. See what we can, what we liked, what we didn't like. We've got some nominees. Everyone's wearing their tux tonight, which looks fantastic. Bruce,
Confession. Just the T-shirt with the tux printed on it.
Look, I'm giving credit where credit is due. You heard that it was black tie, and you wore something with a black tie on it, and so, listen, you followed the rules. You made them your own, but God bless you, you followed the rules, so good for you, buddy.
Mine's a Canadian tuxedo.
Yeah.
I love denim.
All right, so we got a couple of categories here. We've gone through many of this. We were actually talking just before the show of, hey, is there any particular order that we do these in? Apparently, this is the same order that we've been doing for the past 5 years because all Leslie does is copy and paste. But we did get
nominees.
But
we got change categories depending on what the year needs. But for the most part, yeah.
Right. So instead of last year's where it said best of 2017, you changed that to 18, and then
he's also got some added. He's got some added things in here this year too. There's very specifically for this year.
He's good. I'm giving a hard time, but he did the work that I was unwilling to do. So let's get down to it. Our first category is best worst acting. Now, there's a lot of great acting. There's a lot of horrible acting, but, there's only so much best worst acting. And here are the nominees, and as always, we're going to list the nominees. If we want to add one, we certainly can. We're going to discuss and then come out with a winner here. Best worst acting, we have Dennis Hopper in The Crow, Wicked Prayer, Tommy Lee Jones in Batman Forever, or God help us, Gary Busey in Ginger Dead Man.
I have one add-in.
Okay.
Yes.
Tom Hardy in Venom.
Very worthy, man. I can't disagree with that.
I'm thinking of him sitting in the fish tank specifically.
I'm thinking of what Tom Hardy believes is a San Francisco accent.
Well, no, he did say he moved from New York, so technically this is some sort of New York accent.
Now here's the thing: is I know Tom Hardy has more range than this. I think honestly he's trolling Gerard Butler with that accent because that is the only American accent Gerard Butler knows.
He knows grumble, grumble. He does enough of that.
He calls it a cop accent. Do my cop accent.
I'm going to point a gun at you and just kind of talk with my clenched teeth, and that's going to be that. And just, threaten people. That's what he did.
Where is that guy now? That guy, I don't think he's around anymore.
Oh,
he died in a geostorm.
I hate your guts.
Oh.
That movie sat on the shelf for like 3 years, and they're like, I guess we'll put it out this year. Who knows? And it made a nickel, as they expected. Listen, I'm going to go Tom Hardy here because, look, these others, they're bad, but Tom Hardy takes what a concept that shouldn't work, a Spider-Man-less Venom movie, and kind of makes us care for this character of which no one cares about or did care about at all, really.
It's in the top 5 of highest grossing movies of this year as well.
It's ridiculous. It's made $1 billion worldwide. Venom, people, come on.
Well, if I'm being honest, this is my favorite category. I think we've established that a long time ago.
For sure.
And I love a very specific type of hammy acting. And if this were Lifetime Achievement Awards, it'd probably be a tough call between Dennis Hopper and Gary Busey. I would say you'd have to give it to Hopper, but this isn't a Lifetime Achievement Award. This is the 2018 award. Tommy Lee Jones is kind of a novelty because for some reason he thought it was a good idea to try to out Jim Carrey, and it didn't work out for him. But since you actually came up with a timely, relevant case from 2018, who would I be to vote against it? So out of the blue, I'm going with the write-in. Even though I made the nominees, I'm voting for someone I didn't nominate.
He wrote the book, but he forgot to write the chapters. All right, Venom it is then.
Man, one of these days, somebody's going to show up to accept that award.
All right, next up, this one goes out to our dearly departed cast member from HMP. This is the best animated movie, i.e. the Keenan Award.
We should call it the Keenan Memorial going forward.
Good point.
I love the idea of calling it an Anna movie.
The best Anna movie. Animaniacs wins every year.
Animaniacs won that one again. Best animated movie, the Keenan Award, goes to... the nominees are Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, Teen Titans Go to the Movies, and Incredibles 2. Listen,
it's going to be so hard to have any meaningful discussion on this one because it's a runaway winner, right?
Oh, yes, without a doubt.
I mean, Into the Spider-Verse was like, it had everything going against it, and somehow it just pulled out to do what the Lego movie did a couple of years ago, to give you this thing that, like, ultimately in theory shouldn't work that well, work extremely well. And
I don't know if we spoke about this when we were reviewing Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. I thought of this week. I wonder what movie we miss because they got rid of those two guys on Solo. What movie did we not get when they got rid of those two guys? Because every single thing they've done so far that they had a heavy hand in, I've loved. Literally everything.
let's play devil's advocate. Just think how much better Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse would have been as a Ron Howard production.
Oh man, you're not wrong.
If Ron Howard got behind this animated film, boy, oh boy.
Suddenly everybody has red hair.
You know, Ron Howard is a super solid filmmaker. I mean, he really is. He's solid.
Yeah.
But that's all I can say about him. You know, there's no one saying Ron Howard is my favorite filmmaker of all time. He's my favorite director. No one has ever said those words. And so I'm just wondering what we lost with Solo, because you know, Solo was a very solid movie, but it's not something where people are like, that's my favorite Star Wars.
Yeah. But in case people aren't paying attention, I think we can declare Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse the winner here.
Oh, for sure.
And I'm going to say, is this the fifth? This is the fifth time we've done this award show, right, Adam?
That sounds correct.
Because I can't think of a single year where Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse wouldn't win Best Animated Movie so far.
Yeah, it is generational, that movie.
Pretty tough to do. And really, between this and Venom, it's a darn shame what they've done to Spider-Man, making him successful. Because it's going to be so much harder to get him, like him and all his brethren, folded into the MCU proper. Darn you for being good and successful. Why we want that so much. Couldn't you have waited a little bit?
Have you seen I think it was Chinese promotional material that made Venom a big overseas hit, where they tried to portray Venom as the perfect boyfriend in these little cartoons that they drew? Those things are amazing.
What?
Like that in and of itself is worth checking out. Just type in Venom best boyfriend China and see all the little cartoon. Like, this was all marketing to get young females interested in going and watching the movie Venom in China. It's crazy. Like it's where the story behind the movie is so much better than the movie. Like, that is the movie I want to see.
Yeah, no kidding.
I'm telling you, China just does whatever China wants to do, man. They really do. They don't care. You give them a Star Wars, and they're just like, we don't give a crap about that. You give them like an animated Spider-Man.
World of Warcraft.
World of Warcraft, they love it. They love it. Even though it's absolute and utter garbage, they're just like, hey, this is the best thing ever. I'm like, what are you on? I don't know, weird.
That's the only reason why they keep churning out Transformers movies.
Yeah.
Hey, the highest grossing movie in the history of China was a movie about a mermaid, and then it got surpassed by Aquaman.
What?
So, yeah, so they really like water people.
They love those mer people over there. Y'all know how that is. I've seen we've seen those movies. All right, next category, best sequel. Now, again, these are all encompassing movies that we've seen in 2018 as Hero Movie Podcasts. If you'd like to listen to those, guess what? They're all back there. Go check them out. They're pretty good. Here are the nominees. Oh, boy. We keep seeing this name over and over again. I wonder why. I think Bruce has a special place in his heart. So best sequel, here are the nominees: The Crow, Wicked Prayer, Superman Returns, or Batman Forever.
I'd like to add two.
Before you add anything, just understand, I like to have one category at least that's just ridiculous, and this was it this year.
I like that, Adam, that you looked at the Is this the first time you're actually looking at the nominees, Adam?
No. I've, of course, looked at them previously. It's called showmanship.
You did, and you went, oh, this is fine. You literally looked at the nominees and went, no, that sounds about right. Those are the only sequels we've seen this year.
Yeah, listen, I didn't say I didn't say I approved of it all. I just said I'd read it.
I was just curious, if you had to choose between these three, how do you pick?
You don't. The answer is you don't. It's the Kobayashi Maru.
It's like you all lose. Again, there's a Star Wars movie, at least somewhere, right? No, wait, that was Solo, but that wouldn't count as the best one.
It's a prequel,
but man. It's at least however you want to figure it.
The only way to win is not to play.
There's Incredibles 2, there's Incredibles 2, there's Deadpool 2, there's Infinity War. I mean, these are all
it's almost like there were three perfect nominees.
Again, I just go, fine.
No, that looks good to me. Crow, Wicked Prayer, best sequel. Yeah.
Okay,
Next.
all right, listen.
At least I don't have to do it.
Perhaps I perused them.
Well, honestly, I think out of these three, I do vote for The Crow, Wicked Prayer.
It's so insane that The Crow, Wicked Prayer is the second best Crow movie we've ever seen.
Yes.
That is insane.
And I would say definitely better than Batman and Robin. I don't know if it's better than Batman Forever, though. Oh, boy. At least it's Dennis Hopper, man. Dennis Hopper wasn't in those other two movies.
He was barely in that movie.
And the thing that Superman Returns has going for it is that there's extra added menace that Kevin Spacey is.
It took on a whole new dimension when we watched it.
The entire time, every time I see somebody around him, I'm like, man, I wonder how many times he touched that dude.
Hey, I'm just telling you, and I didn't call it out when we did the review because I like to keep things above a certain line. But when he kidnapped Lois and Superman's little boy,
yep,
I was going to dark places.
Yep.
A lot of onset back rubs there. I don't know what's going on. Listen.
I wish this was a Kevin Spacey episode. Oh, man.
I'm saying
I like how he came out and said, yes, it is true, I am gay. Like he totally dodged what the actual accusation
was. Look over here, look over here, look over here. It's like, this is not a magic trick.
And guys, I hate to bring it up, but I'm also lactose intolerant. All right, well, you probably don't have any more questions. I'll talk to you later.
I'll be seeing you. Bye now. Bye.
It's like the kid that gets arrested for robbing a liquor store. His mom confronts him and he goes, yes, Mom, I admit I stayed out past curfew.
Exactly. Exactly.
So best sequel clearly just goes to Infinity War.
Yes, it is the best sequel ever made. Yes, it is Infinity War.
Nice try, Bruce. Nice try.
Once Upon a Deadpool. Better than Deadpool 2. Prove me wrong.
I haven't seen it, but you do like it that much, huh?
Not really, but it's good.
Yeah.
It's good to be able to take the kids to a Deadpool movie. That's what I like about it.
This just feels like this should be something that they would include as a lovely special feature on a Blu-ray or something. Then I haven't bought Deadpool 2 on Blu-ray yet, so if they'd like to throw that in as a bonus Blu-ray, yeah, I'd pick that up then. But I wouldn't buy it separately. That'd just be silly talk.
Meanwhile, I've lost my Blu-ray player.
Yeah, that's what you get for buying a PS4 Pro. Mistake. Next category, Best TV Villain. I think we had more than 3, but maybe we'll add on to these.
I've got a few.
We have Bullseye from Daredevil Season 3. Also from Daredevil Season 3, we have the Kingpin. And the lead mask guy from Perils of
Lead.
Lead Rats. Oh, my part. It wasn't capitalized. That's why I think I messed up.
Oh, I see. It's not capitalized.
That's the problem. The lead mask guy for the Perils of Superman. Why's your connection sound like crap now, Sean? What's going on?
Say what?
He backed away from the mic when you said lead.
He sounds like he's in a toilet.
Do I?
Yes.
Oh, boy. Give me a minute.
It'll come around.
It's
Don't
all
worry.
gone down from hill.
Just roll with it. Just roll with it.
So what was
Who would you add? There were more TV villains,
Yes.
but honestly, when I looked over our choices this year, I didn't feel like there were a lot of great TV villains this year.
He's killing it. No, listen. We haven't, not like it's been in the past couple of years, and as I can say for all of these nominees, except for the Peril Superman, that guy doesn't even really count. But Kingpin and Bullseye, while I would say was a very good villain, I think you can't give it to him just on account of he was and wasn't Bullseye, if you know what I mean. We don't have he's not wearing nothing.
Yeah, he's like the evil Daredevil.
Do we even really call him Bullseye at any particular point? I don't even know if we literally call him that.
And I mean, geez, I'm trying to think what else. Who even would you call the villain in Iron Fist season 2?
Iron Fist.
Sure.
The plot.
And then Jessica Jones season 2, I couldn't tell you exactly who the villain was in that.
Like her mom kind of thing, or whoever.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
her mom, sort of, kind of.
They did a whole thing this year where it was like, other than Daredevil, it was hard to pinpoint a villain. I guess there's the oh man, I can't believe as much as I like the character, I forgot her name, but like the witchy woman from Sabrina, I could have nominated her.
Oh yeah, you totally should have.
Oh wow, what a missed opportunity.
I think that besides the lead mask guy on the Perils of Superman, from the Superman TV show that we saw, I really like the parents on Runaways. I think that they're great bad guys. You know, there's that added menace to them from the source material itself. So
sort of like an ensemble nomination. I'm cool with that.
Yeah, well, I mean, because that's literally why the kids are running away is the parents, you know, and and they are conflicted, and they are, you know, it's not just something ridiculous, and like it's fun. That show is so fun to me. So I would nominate them.
I need to get back into that. They're about to hit season 2 with that, aren't they?
It's already out.
Oh, yeah. Is it already out? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, we might have to check up with that. In all honesty, for me, it's going to be hard to beat Kingpin, which stinks because I think anytime, well, never mind, it will never happen again. But anytime there's a Daredevil season with D'Onofrio as Kingpin, that's probably going to be who I vote for.
Don't you think there's going to be a groundswell for that to come back to the Disney streaming? I honestly believe that that's what's going to happen here.
Yeah, but I also, man, sometimes I get my information all confused on what I heard about what, but I think there is like this 3-year cooldown clause.
It's 2, but yeah.
2-year? Okay, I knew there was a cooldown clause. But
anyway,
like,
pay
I'm
us
cool
a lot
with
of
that.
bread, you can have your stuff back, but you can't do it for X amount of time kind of deal.
But I think this is just a good moment to say how awesome the first seasons were at their villains. We had David Tennant, who was great as Kilgore, the Purple Man. We had Mahershala Ali, who was great as Cottonmouth.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, we had D'Onofrio from the beginning on Daredevil. And then in their season 2s and 3s, they just kind of like felt like, you know, the villain's not that big of a deal, which I think is a big mistake. Because that's really, I mean, you don't have to be a smart person to know the villain is where the joy is in this kind of stuff.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah. All right, next category. Speaking of villains, we're going from the small screen to the big one. Here are the nominees. We have Thanos in Avengers Infinity War, Killmonger in Black Panther, and Ocean Master in the most recent Aquaman. Well, I already
got
know
another add-in.
Okay.
Let's hear it.
It's Kingpin again. Kingpin into the Spider-Verse is awesome.
I absolutely wanted to do that. Yeah, I absolutely wanted to do that, but then I thought I'm being too clever. I wanted Kingpin to win both.
Yeah.
Maybe. So what? So you guys are both going Kingpin, yeah?
No, I'm not going Kingpin. I'm just saying I can absolutely wanted to add that in and decided not to.
Okay. Because this is a tough one for me because I like between especially Thanos and Killmonger, like I really like them both for very different reasons.
Yeah, this was a year where Marvel finally started getting, well, the last 2 years actually, where Marvel movies have good villains now. Because remember, that was the conversation for years and years.
It's the same thing over and over.
Another thing that happened to me on this one was I couldn't really say who I would call the definitive villain from Deadpool 2. So there was nobody really to nominate there.
Right.
Unless it was Juggernaut, which is more of a novelty character than a true, you know, movie-carrying villain.
Right.
Especially in that one, for sure, yeah. I'm thinking I got to go Thanos here. I mean, for something that could have really... I feel with Killmonger that probably could have gone just about that way. I don't see that they could screw that up too awful much, you know, especially with like Michael B. Jordan behind the, you know.
I think everything we like about Killmonger is because we really like Michael B. Jordan.
Exactly.
I
agree.
I don't think the character's necessarily written and created to be all that great. It just had an incredible performance behind it.
But Thanos
that's why I'm going Thanos.
Thanos could have been awful, man. It could have really just been a big, giant mess, and they pulled it off better than I think you could have really ever thought they would have. But, man, it works.
Yeah, I'm really into the Thanos that they gave us on the big screen. It's one of those times where I'm glad they didn't give us something more faithful to the comics where he's just pure evil who wants to kill to satisfy death. You know, I mean, I really like this Thanos we got.
A lot of really neat moments. I mean, just from fighting. I mean, fighting Hulk alone, like, and just to have that basically start your movie. was really, really cool. And then, but they didn't just make him some big giant action thing. He had a great story. And
in the scene with young Gamora, where he's on her home planet, where they're just lining up and slaughtering half the population, and he pulls her aside and she starts to look and he grabs her head. No, don't look, sweetheart, don't look. I mean, such a weird, touching moment from a guy who's committing essentially what amounts to demi-genocide. I guess it's not true genocide, but demi-genocide.
Crazy. So yeah, I'm for me, it's got to be Thanos.
Yeah, I second you on that.
We'll take Sean's silence as agreement.
Well,
I'm sorry,
said Kingpin. He said Kingpin.
I'm in the middle of something on this side. What was the question? Go ahead.
Best movie villain.
You nominated Kingpin from Into the Spider-Verse. I think that was an excellent choice.
I did, but I think that Thanos is the right answer.
Okay.
Because look at it like this. We have the DC equivalent to Thanos with Darkseid. Yeah. Do we honestly think that Darkseid is going to be as good a villain as Thanos is in Marvel? I don't. No. I don't think that's ever going to happen.
Maybe if they're true to the comics and bring in Baby Darkseid.
Yes, exactly. Perfect.
Now, this next category here, I don't know if this is just Bruce's choosings or if it really was this bad a year. But here are the nominees for Best Female Hero in a Television Series. Here are the nominees. We have Sabrina Spellman for The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina.
Boo.
Hey, you admit, though, the actress is pretty good.
She is. She's great. But that show...
I disagree. Raven from Titans, the streaming service at DC.
But the actress, once again, pretty good.
And last one here, Colleen Wing from Iron Fist Season 2.
Notice I didn't take the time to get any of the actors' names. I feel bad about that.
It's just like a person on a show.
I've got two, and they're on the same show. I love the actresses who play Nico and Molly on Runaways. I think they're awesome. They should be nominated. I don't know which one to choose between the two of them.
Are those the sisters?
I like Nico.
Nico is the Asian girl, and Molly is the little Latino girl who's tough as nails.
She can punch stuff real good.
Listen, I'm going that. I've only covered the ones that we saw for the show, and even then, they're better than these other nominees. Good job, Bruce, knocking it out of the park.
I was hoping that Sean would vote for Sabrina Spellman.
Never, ever, 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 ever.
Well, we've got in our next category. Maybe we can liven it up a little bit better.
Hold on, who wins? Who wins?
Nico and Molly.
Yeah.
Okay, so we all agree Nico and Molly are the best.
Well, you voted for Nico and Molly. I voted for Nico. He voted for Molly. Like, that's the first ever three-way tie.
Perfect.
There you go.
That's how it works, everybody.
First ever three-way tie, and all three not nominees.
Very true. Maybe we'll have a little bit better luck here in the best movie female category. We have Shuri from Black Panther, Domino in Deadpool 2, and the Wasp from Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Yeah, this one has to go to the Wasp for me.
1,000%.
Yeah.
Even over Spider-Gwen?
Ooh, Spider-Gwen is good.
She's cool, but I don't think she's not as integral a part of the story as Wasp is, in my opinion. She's a part, yes, but character-wise, I don't think it has as much to stretch and move and grow as the Wasp does.
Right, and also the Wasp, there's something to be said for somebody who's actually better at doing the job than the original guy. I do like that, and that part makes it fun to me.
Well, I was particularly smitten with Zazie Beetz, so I'm going to vote for Domino from Deadpool 2.
I don't know if I've ever gotten over the eye being white as opposed to black. It really seems it's like off-putting. It just does, I'm like, it's not what I know. It's not what I know, and it doesn't make sense that you would make it. All right, I get fine, whatever.
That is a key to success in life, children. Fixate on a meaningless detail.
Indeed, I think that's pretty much how my life works. I should ignore this thing. Nope, we're going in whole hog here. I got a bad joke that I'm skipping over to go to the next category. Best.
Who won, by the way? Did you vote?
Yeah, I was Ant-Man. I was
Who'd
the
you vote
Wasp
for?
from
Okay.
the Get
Yeah,
Up
the
Go.
Wasp.
Okay. Good job, Evangeline Lilly.
Indeed. Switching over to the dudes, best male hero in a series. We have Daredevil from Daredevil season 3, Luke Cage from Luke Cage season 2. And of course, you know when Bruce made the list when the nomination comes up for the Wizard from Jessica Jones season 2.
I vote for the Wizard, by the way.
Get out of town.
What a shock.
I love the Wizard.
For
Look
all
like a
of
chubby
we know.
speedster.
for
We
all of his
know.
90 seconds on screen.
This is a very Bruce Leslie thing to do. If I had to guess, if I ever had to guess who wrote that in without ever knowing anything about it, of course it would be you.
I love the Wizard.
Now, I'll say this. Here's the thing. I think we ought to vote for the Wizard, and I'll tell you why. Of anyone to come down and receive their award and everything, I think the kid that played the Wizard would probably be the first to come down.
If it was a sub, he'd come down.
Look, no one's better than Charlie Cox as Daredevil. I mean, he's perfect. He's got to win.
It's true. Again, it's so sad to see Daredevil get the axe because, again, this season was so strong. You really knew where Marvel was putting all of their eggs, and it was in the basket of Daredevil. So, good on Charlie Cox. Daredevil's the winner for me, even though the Wizard's not a bad runner-up there, Bruce.
Runner, fun.
Gotcha. Let's
Sometimes you don't have to be good.
Let's go over to the movie portion here. Best male hero in a movie. We have Jason Momoa in Aquaman, Paul Rudd in Ant-Man and the Wasp, or Josh Brolin in Deadpool 2. Doesn't even bother to put on Ryan Reynolds in there, does he? What a...
Because
Well,
Cable's
first of all, this feels like baiting. This is the first thing where it felt like Bruce was legitimately baiting me by putting in Jason Momoa as Aquaman because I don't like Jason Momoa. And so that's like the first clue of like, oh, Bruce is trying to make me upset.
I was trying to hedge the bet so that Josh Brolin could be best villain and best hero this year.
Oh, that's pretty good though. I do like that.
I was worried because everybody likes Paul Rudd, but I knew Jason Momoa. At least I'm cutting down the competition.
As far as like, I really like the kid who did Into the Spider-Verse, and I like Jake Johnson, who was the Peter B. Parker. I think that both of those guys were great.
And if we were going to go that route, I mean, I would have to vote for Spider-Ham
Oh, right, Spider-Ham, of course.
with the SNL guy doing his voice that I can't remember his name suddenly.
Yeah, what is that guy's name again?
He's a white guy.
Yeah, yes, I'm aware of that.
What's the question again? Oh, John Mulaney?
Yeah, John Mulaney, that's it.
When I say he's a white guy, I mean, if you looked at him and knew nothing about him, you go, wow, that guy sure is a white guy.
Yeah, that is for sure. He is the whitest comic ever,
Gentlemen, he's
for
white.
sure.
So I vote for Josh Brolin as Cable. I like Cable. Cable's one of those comic book characters that I never thought I would see on the screen. Just like Thanos was probably a character I wasn't really expecting to see on the screen. And the same guy bringing them both, doing them both so well, and with them not seeming at all alike. And Josh Brolin's just a good guy, man. I'm voting for Josh Brolin again for Cable.
He kicks puppies, you know.
Isn't Cable the superhero that I related you to many years ago for Heroes and Villains on your anniversary show?
Probably, man. Probably. I'd have to go back and listen to it.
That feels right. Paul Rudd's awesome, but you know what? I'm going to go with you here. I'm going to say Josh Brolin.
Brolin wins, but wouldn't get my vote. Listen, I like your Spider-Man's. I like that one as well. I think I would actually go for that one because to me those were. Brolin's just playing gravelly voice, and I'd rather have a Thanos. If you're going to give me two performances, give me the Thanos all day long.
Poor Paul Rudd.
Hey, listen, I love Paul Rudd, and let me tell you, nobody got a bigger reaction in those Avengers trailers, the new one than Rudd, and like to be in an audience when that goes down. Oh, everybody is so stoked and like for Ant-Man, dog. The audience is stoked for Ant-Man, the world we live in. You know what I'm saying? It's just so bizarre.
It's because they loved him as a kid when he was in Mac and Me.
Right. It's so strange. I love it though.
Have you guys ever seen Will Ferrell on Conan O'Brien?
Oh, constantly.
I haven't.
Whenever they go to the tape, on Conan O'Brien.
You said Will Ferrell, but you meant Paul Rudd.
I'm sorry, I did mean Paul Rudd.
Yes, I have seen Paul Rudd. That's why I made the joke.
Oh, I see.
It'd be really weird if I made that joke and had no concept that he does.
I just like E.T. ripoffs.
I totally forgot.
And then I wondered, maybe Will Ferrell does it just to like troll Paul Rudd. I was really getting interested in it.
No, I'm mixing up my guys that have movies that people have walked out of before.
And you know what would be great? It would be great if they actually got the kid from Mac and Me to get on and show a clip, and it was Wet Hot American Summer.
That would be funny.
On to our next category here. We have Best Sidekick. This is going to be quite an interesting category. We have Chewbacca from Solo, A Star Wars Story. We also have Peter, the regular guy from Deadpool 2. And, of course, Carmelita the donkey from Superman and the Brainy Burrow. Again, if this weren't a Bruce Leslie production, you would know now.
Now, I have a feeling that Chewbacca is going to be the fan favorite, but there's a whole lot of discussion that needs to be had before we make up our mind, because both Peter, the regular guy, and Carmelita the donkey put their all into their roles.
That's true. Did Peter die?
He lived after the time reset. Spoiler warning.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, he's the only one that Deadpool saves.
I also love it that for Peter, the regular guy, they used the actor's actual headshot just to show how much he uglied it up for the role. and you know, Deadpool says, I feel like there's a little bit of a catfish vibe going on here with this picture. I loved it.
And that's the thing, and Sean, I know you could talk to this. Whenever you see those pictures and you get that person in the room, rarely ever is this like, this is not the same person. What is this?
Well, because you need to use it to sell yourself.
Oh, yeah, of course.
So generally, and I mean, it has to be, it has to look like you in your pictures, you know? So every so often what'll happen is that somebody has a really great headshot and they'll come in and almost immediately, whoosh, like they're gone.
Oh, this is not good.
And so, like, for those of you who are thinking about acting and thinking about getting into the movie business.
Stay at home, Uggo.
Yeah, I just get headshots that look like you.
Yeah. Because a lot of times you never know what they're looking for, and they may be looking for somebody who looks like you and not like the person that you think that they want you to look like.
Well, I did a little research for this category, and I found out that Carmelita the donkey was a method actress, and that Carmelita actually had to learn to read minds for this role. So I'm going to vote for her because that's dedication to a role. It's only 22 minutes of screen time or something, and she actually learned to read minds.
Bruce, there is a fake donkey foot in that show.
She had an accident that was a prosthetic. She was a war hero. Carmelita the war donkey.
Listen,
Carmelita the donkey for sure for me.
Listen, well. I'm not saying that that's not my choice. I'm just saying that was a fake foot. But yes, Carmelita is best sidekick because, you know, I love how also everyone always knew. They basically had like the Dead Sea Scrolls inside their heads of to how to, you know, well, 3 clicks means yes and 2 clicks means no and 1 means it's so stupid. I love it though.
Yeah, and Chewbacca wasn't. I didn't like the way Chewbacca was presented to us when we first met him in Solo.
I'm moving on because sometimes it's all you can do on this show. Next category, retro eye candy. This is the male category. Everybody, we have JCVD and Time Cop. George Reed.
By the way, that's Jean-Claude Van Damme. Anybody doesn't know?
Oh, they know. Trust me. If they're listening to this show, I'm sure they're Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Yeah, if they're listening to this show, they know JCVD.
They get it. You know, there's no newbies listening to this show, man. These are all hardcore people. George Reeves and Superman and the Brainy Burrow. Specifically that one, mind you. Or your favorite retro male eye candy, Edward Furlong in The Crow Wicked Prayer. What a time. You're considered eye candy in the year 2003 after, just mounds of, coke and sadness in your life. Gets you in the eye candy, I guess, because it's one of the few retro films that we did with the live action people this year.
I don't think you've heard this story, Shaun, but the guy that used to be on the show before you joined us met Eddie Furlong once, and he said that this kid said, "I saw you in the Terminator movie," and he asked the kid, "Have I changed any?" So I don't tell the story as good as he did, but it's a pretty funny story.
That's what happens.
Yeah, that guy sounds pretty great.
Not so much.
We're over it.
Recently I was rewatching Green Hornet, and Eddie Furlong's in that movie.
Is that right?
Yeah, he's in it. I mean, he's not a big role. He's in it for maybe 5 minutes, but he is in it. It was surprising to see him, actually.
We may need to put that on the schedule. We did the old Green Hornet show, but I don't think we ever watched the movie, did we?
We have not hit We have not hit that movie. Maybe 2019. That may be a one
really?
to fit the bill. Yeah.
It feels like we reviewed it. We never reviewed that movie.
We toyed with the idea of it, but we never actually did it. I'm pretty sure we didn't.
Well,
I know we did the television show.
I'm going to cheat a little bit on my vote for Retro Eye Candy Mel, because I, once again, did some research, and European scientists came up with this computer program to generate the idea of the most handsome man ever, and it drew a picture of Jean-Claude Van Damme with gray temples. So I'm voting for Jean-Claude Van Damme, the muscles from Brussels.
I am in awe of the amount of research that you've done for the show.
I mean, he's digging into scientific journals.
Yeah, I mean, he did a massive rundown on donkey history.
But the International Journal of Belgian Bodybuilders is where I found it.
Oh, I see.
And that's quarterly, right?
Yes, they cost $0.25 an issue. Is that what you mean?
Look, George Reeves.
That seems like value for value.
That's more than value for value, my friend. That's dirt cheap pricing for a quarter these days. This isn't like Little House.
That in a quarter will get you an issue of International Belgian Bodybuilding.
You know how that old saying goes. My grandma said it forever.
Look, I'm sorry to argue with you here, Bruce. But
yeah,
honestly, it's not JCVD. The most handsome man is George Reeves, because it looks like he eats steak for breakfast. He probably is drunk before noon. And
he has the body. I've gone on record. I've actually published a book where I said that he had the body of a door-to-door broom salesman.
For sure. For sure.
You want to buy this for Lions Club?
Exactly. You know that guy had AAA. You just know that he did. So I'm going to go with George Reeves.
I can't argue, man. That's a good vote.
You're
the tiebreaker here, Adam.
No, I was George Reeves all the way. There's not even a question in this. Listen, the thing that drives me nuts about Van Damme, I understand all of it. I can get past the accent. I can get past the, acting in every single film where, he just looks, blindly into the camera and just screaming. But that bump on the head just drives me up the flipping wall. What is it about that just makes me just nuts?
He's hoping the splits will distract you from that.
Do not look at the top of my head. It's not good. I
gotta say, man, as impressive as those splits are, doesn't say a lot about his business, if you know what I mean.
I don't. Would you go into it more, please?
Booming.
His junk.
So, George Reeves it is. Come get your award, you dead man, you. Next up, we have Retro. If we got the males, we got to go over to the female side of the equation. Here are your nominees. Mira Sarah, a.k.a. Sloane from Ferris Bueller's Only Topless and Time Cop. She-Ra, He-Man, and She-Ra Christmas Special. Or Pamela Anderson and Barbed Wire. Listen, only one of these people is someone that's not animated. So
Only one of them's not a cartoon.
Yeah, so like I think that's the one we kind of have to go with, because if you say the cartoon ones, you may be just a little weird.
Who are you going with then, Adam?
Me and Sarah. That's who we're looking at the time.
Do you agree, Sean?
Absolutely, it's me and Sarah all day. Come on, Sloan Peterson.
Yeah, man. Hard. It was tough to. It's always tough to pick anybody over She-Ra, but I do have to pick Mia Sarah.
She's a drawing.
It's like She-Ra doesn't age. Her new show, she looks even younger than she did back then.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Doing something right.
All right, on to the next category here. We need to stop for half a second, give a couple of special awards out. This happens at all Academy Awards. You know, you have earlier ceremonies for, some of the lesser ones that, people aren't going to show up for or really give a crap about, but we need to, sometimes talk about those. First special award goes to Best Canceled Show, and that went to Daredevil. Why this show got 3 seasons? This season being as awesome as it was, only to
maybe
be followed
the best
up.
Season.
Yeah, only to be followed up quickly with not no more. Ooh,
I think that there's some backstage chicanery happening, and we just don't know it.
I would even say there's front stage chicanery. That's how much chicanery is going on.
I think it's mostly flimflammery myself.
I heard there was, honestly, man, like you hear the rumors, but I heard it even went to some kind of ridiculous stuff like the contract was laid out where it wasn't clear who got to pick how many episodes were in a season. So Marvel was trying to tell them, yeah, we want you to budget for 30 episodes or something ridiculous like that. Like they forced their hand. I love that kind of rumordom.
Wow.
We want to do this weekly. Like, what? No. And, of course, the award for rubbing salt in the wound of canceling Daredevil, that award goes to seasons 2 through 4, The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, which apparently has been greenlit because for some reason people are watching it, I guess. I couldn't
Sabrina, now and forever. I will tell you, there are people in the world who love Sabrina and love Riverdale, to the point where, it's surprising to me just how much grown adults like that show.
Now, I've got a question for you, Shaun. Just if you have any idea or not. But let's just say they've ordered. Now they're working on season 2, and they went ahead and ordered season 3 and 4. Let's say somewhere between 2 and 3, they decide they don't really want 4 seasons. Can they negotiate? How much do we have to pay you to go away, and we don't make the season 4? Do you think that's an option?
Oh, the reverse Kickstarter.
The only. The only thing that could happen is something like what you see with what happened with Chappelle's show, where Chappelle goes away and Chappelle has to give the money back. And so I was thinking more from
Netflix side of things. We're okay, you can hold our feet to the fire. We'll pay you to make a whole season that we never show, or we can just pay you half the money to not make the season and we all go away happy.
I don't know. I've never seen that happen with.
Well, that's
Netflix.
what I'm pulling for. That's what I'm pulling for. That's what happens.
I would like you to make an entire season's worth of television and then set it ablaze.
Well, I think that what it feels like to me, and I'm sure you guys feel it too, is that Netflix is really trying to, get a stranglehold on content now because their content is going away.
Yeah.
And, Disney isn't going to be on there anymore. And you got to figure that everyone is going to be doing things that way. So it's only a matter of time before Netflix has only Netflix things on Netflix.
Well, and the crazy thing is, right now, over this past weekend, the number 1 movie that's being talked about in America, it seems, is a movie that's on Netflix. In Bird Box. So that's the movie people are talking about.
Which was way better a year ago when it was made with John Krasinski.
Ooh, snap.
Oh, I've heard people say the opposite.
Burn.
That was this year. No, that was this year though. So I haven't seen it yet. So I've been working.
Some salve for that wicked burn.
Boom.
I just thought it was about chicken. I didn't know.
Take that, Sandy.
This next award is the Warner Brothers It Ain't Wonder Woman, but it's a big hit in China award goes to Aquaman. There's a shock for some reason. Like I said, it's got to be mer people, man, because the people over in China are in love with Aquaman to the point where it's already $1 billion earner, man.
I've got to say, I have a great idea for whoever owns the rights to the snorks.
Ooh, I love some snorks.
Because the snorks are going to be gigantic in China.
Oh.
Here's what I'm starting to think with movies like Warcraft and movies like Aquaman, which Aquaman didn't do badly here. I shouldn't lump it in there. But I think there's going to come a time where there are English language movies that are made, promoted in China, released in China. Now, they're going to get a brief theatrical release in the U.S. so they don't have a stigma of direct-to-video in the U.S. that maybe China turns their nose up at. But there's not going to be any U.S. marketing. We're only going to know about it because we read things online that tell us when movies are coming out. But they're going to be these big, weird action movies that are made just for the Chinese market. But they want them to have that appeal of being an American movie. So they're going to come out with almost no trailers out there, no press coverage, and they're going to be in and out in a week or two. I think that's going to start happening some. It almost happened with that Matt Damon Great Wall of China movie, I felt like.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's why I think that's I mean, they're still going to do marketing for America because it just makes sense that it's another revenue stream for them. But I think you're right. I think it'll be a limited thing.
I think that the American marketing, though, is more ego. Like something like Warcraft, I bet you they spent more marketing that in the U.S. than the U.S. box office grossed.
For sure.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So that movie
if they would have,
you're right.
I think if they just would have let like some online Blizzard fans talk about the movie coming out, word of mouth marketing, and focused on China, they would have made a better profit margin because the egos of studios, it's like they have a huge blind spot sometimes that they're getting over, but they still just can't let like the American marketplace go.
Right. So when that live action Snorks movie comes out and it's just completely, the entire cast is just all Chinese people.
I'll be there opening night.
Yeah, for sure.
All about some
Me too.
snork action.
We'll go hand in hand.
Or snork and snort.
Let people talk. Let them talk.
Let them talk. I always love that. But let them. Back to our categories here. Thanks to those award winners that won earlier in the evening. Next up, category favorite non-traditional comic flick. We have My Friend Dahmer, A History of Violence, or From Hell.
My favorite on this list this year is A History of Violence. I love that movie. It's so well done. It's so rewatchable. Weirdly, From Hell is just such a slog.
Yeah,
for me. And My Friend Dahmer, it's good. It's just not. It's not what anybody wants. And so I'm gonna go with History of Violence.
The kids these days, they can't get enough Dahmer. They've been screaming about it in school. You hear them all the time. When's the next Dahmer flick coming out? And
Dahmer.
I guess my take on it, From Hell, is not a bad movie. I really don't think it's a bad movie. It's not great, but it's fine enough. It's interesting, especially when it came out. It might have been a little more interesting than it is now, but it's just not as good, in my opinion, as these other two movies. I think A History of Violence is clearly the best made film on this list here. Definitely the one that is going to have the most fans. Something I like about My Friend Dahmer is it's just so different from anything we ever watched for this show. The only thing it's even more different than the Harvey Pekar, the American Splendor movie that we watched, which is kind of different. But My Friend Dahmer is definitely so different, and it's something I wouldn't have necessarily watched on my own if it weren't for this show. So I kind of think that it's cool that we covered that one, and I'm happy that we covered it. But if I'm picking, my favorite movies of these three, it's going to be A History of Violence.
Yeah, I think I fall in line with Bruce. Is that my Friend Dahmer again? It was really I didn't know exactly what to expect, and it's really surprising, especially coming from that actor. Seeing the other stuff that we've seen him in, and it's like nothing remotely close to that.
Sabrina, yeah.
So no, he's pretty good. But History of Violence, man, that thing held up so well. And I'm a giant Cronenberg fan to begin with, so I have to say I'm probably a little bit biased in this category. But yeah, History of Violence for sure. Save for the fact that they're still not 1,000% sure on how baseball works, because Cronenberg just does not. I don't know that he knows how baseball happens.
All three of us agree.
Baseball, no working so well. All right, now on to Worst Hero Show. This is a category. The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, Titans, or Cloak and Dagger, which I think we can automatically take off the list because what little bit we watched, we enjoyed, if memory serves. So I don't even think that deserves to even be here.
I'll just say this, that I tried to follow it through and couldn't make it to the end. I lost interest in the show, so I put it on here because we haven't watched that much bad stuff this year, by the way.
Yeah.
When I was looking back over what we've done this year. So I kind of put it on there just because I lost interest. But, yeah, it's not that bad.
Yeah, I mean, the stuff that, we would relegate to, oh, hey, this would be a good time to see something terrible. We saw great stuff this year. Like the 70s Spider-Man thing was awesome. The 50s Superman TV show was awesome.
Yeah, real unexpected stuff that you're just like, this is going to suck, and it's a blast.
And we didn't have like a Power Rangers or Valeria in the Land of Tomorrow. Or, you know what I mean? We didn't really have a bad studio new release bomb either.
Oh, you're right. I didn't put that together.
Huh. So we'll have one soon, I suspect, but nothing yet. We didn't have a Ghost in the Shell. We didn't have a bad adaptation this year. I mean, we had some that weren't great, but we didn't have any that were outright just terrible.
Yeah, you're right, man.
So then it gets down, I guess, to how bad do you hate Titans versus how bad do you hate Chilling Adventures of Sabrina? And I do not care for the Titans, but I'll tell you this. I won't get that Sabrina time back in my life. I've only committed to like 2 episodes of Titans, I think. I've done 6 to Sabrina, and I'd like my time back, please. But that's not going to happen.
I will be watching the next season of Titans. I will not be watching the next season of Sabrina. So I think I'll just have to vote with my watching habits. Even though I know Titans isn't necessarily great, there's a sort of pulpy fun to it. I have a little bit of fun with it, and that's the whole idea on some of these shows is to have fun with it. So I'm going to vote for the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina as being the worst hero show we covered this year.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I agree.
Yeah, so hands down, Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. The only thing that we're chilled about is how good a show you are. Chilly reception. Ooh, no good. Best series on television. Here are the nominees. We have Happy, Legion Season 2, or Daredevil Season 3.
I have an add-in for this.
So tough. Go ahead.
I have an add-in because I really, really liked Runaways.
Yeah, that's one that
you did. I picked up on that.
I got to go back. I got to go back and watch the rest of that season because apparently it's really good. Oh, so I needed more things to add to my life. Thank you.
I mean, you guys know how I feel about Happy.
Yeah,
it was almost a thing off air. But and Legion Season 2 was good, but it didn't hold me the same way that Season 1 did. Daredevil Season 3 is a masterpiece, and I love Runaways. But Daredevil Season 3, it just does. I mean, that's the best we'll ever see of a superhero show on TV. I mean, that is the new bar. You literally have to beat that if you think that you have something better than that.
I think Daredevil just raises the game for everybody else in as much as Marvel's kind of been doing for movies and stuff. They've really kind of said, hey, look, here's where comic book movies are. We're taking them to this place right here. It's going to be everyone else's job to kind of catch up. And, DC's struggling furiously to try to do that. But, man, they did it so well with Daredevil that it is. You're right. It's that level. And while Legion's a special show because it's very odd and very different and very weird, and we dug it, it's not the same type of, I say, traditional show, I guess, if you will, that, like, say, Daredevil is. But, man, Daredevil just killed it. So, Daredevil.
Man. Happy. Here's what I would say is the TV show Happy, my relationship with that is exactly like my relationship with Grant Morrison. And that's to say I have no earthly idea how I feel about Grant Morrison anymore. I used to think I really liked him a lot. I used to think maybe he was my number 2 or 3 writer. And then with time, I started to like him less. And then I started to downright hate him. But some of that is not related to what he creates, but the person that he is. but he's still, every now and then I'll give him another chance. I know that he could probably still do something that would really catch me. And Happy is a show that I really was intrigued with a lot of what I was seeing. Also, the whole idea that not only would a Grant Morrison indie comic be turned into a TV show, which seems just like the most ridiculous idea ever, but it was fairly faithful. However, the comic was only 4 issues, and I think the show probably would have been better if it was like a 4-episode mini series kind of thing. Perhaps maybe they pulled it out a little bit too long, but I like Chris Maloney a lot. I really liked his performance a lot. I liked the donkey that they called a horse that was really a unicorn with wings or something. But anyway, I think I liked Happy in a way that I can't express very well. But I think it doesn't matter. Daredevil's going to get 2 votes, so it's going to win. But honest to goodness, I will probably think about Happy, for better or worse, more than the other nominees in a couple of years.
I think the person who rated Happy probably the highest in the show, like, I definitely agree. I think the show it's that special something weird and crazy that, you know, whichever one, Neville Dean or Taylor, I forget which one did it, but one of those dudes. And if you've got half of those, you've got at least 3 crazy guys on your hands. So,
and you know, with the beef going on between Alan Moore and Grant Morrison, it's hard for me to say anything positive about Grant Morrison because I'm team Alan Moore, but there you go.
2 guys up their own keisters about stuff. What a shocker. But yes, Daredevil season 3 with I think a Happy as the chaser there. Now, we'll get into, I think we want to do best new release, and then we'll go into, we got a couple of other big other categories here before we get to our final possible chance of re-rating anything. This is the only time of year that we're allowed to do this. But let's go with best new movie. This is new release. The nominees are, boy, we had a giant year, by the way, for movies in the theater. Holy smokes. We've got Black Panther, Avengers Infinity War, Deadpool 2, Solo: A Star Wars Story, Incredibles 2, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Teen Titans Go to the Movies, Venom, and Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. First, and
Aquaman.
And Aquaman, that's true.
Because we just saw that last week.
But, man, you want to talk about a year for comic book films. Holy smokes.
None of them are terrible.
Not really, no.
Yeah.
That's surprising.
Even the bad ones had things that we had fun with. Like Venom, we had fun. Teen Titans Go to the Movies, I had a lot of fun. Don't know about you guys, but they had fun moments, man. It's weird that we don't have a real stinker we can just flat out laugh about. But it's kind of tough to pick the best one, but there's only really maybe 2 that were just outstanding. 3. There are 3, I think, that were outstanding movies that deserve a second word or 2. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, I said it's my favorite animated movie of all time. And if you're my favorite animated movie of all time, you're definitely going to be in the running for my favorite movie of any given year, with the exception that Black Panther and Avengers Infinity War both really managed to break ground in ground that's been so well trodden over that you would think that dirt's so packed there's no breaking it, you know, but they found ways to do it. All in all, I'm going to have to go with Avengers Infinity War personally, because it just the MCU, for all of their success, a big part of that success has been sticking to a certain degree of formula. And they threw all that out the door in a way with Avengers Infinity War, and they dared to do something new, which is a weird thing to do, like 19 films into a franchise. But it worked perfectly. I love it. I'm going to say Avengers Infinity War for me.
Very nice. Sean?
Well, you know, Bruce, you made some excellent points. I figured something out maybe a month ago, which is that Thor Ragnarok is what really reset the Marvel universe, the Marvel movie universe. After that movie, everything changes on a dime for all of those movies. Everything is reset. Everything is different. There's a new status quo with a movie that is one of the most entertaining, fun movies to watch ever. And so I remember at the beginning of this year or the middle of this year watching Avengers Infinity War and having a couple of issues with it. I can't stand when they break up movies like this, where, hey, we're on a big cliffhanger. Well, we'll see you in a year or 2. That always makes me crazy.
Yeah.
Ever since Back to the Future 2, it's made me nuts.
It was the worst thing about those Twilight movies.
Oh, that's the worst thing.
That's an excellent point, Bruce. They but since it's come to Netflix, I've watched it a bunch, and I love it. Avengers: Infinity War. You can watch it. I can keep it on in the background. I know where they are at this point now because I've seen it so many times. It doesn't matter. It's so good. So for me, it's Avengers: Infinity War is the best thing from this year, and I thought it would be impossible to beat what the first Avengers movie did because it had never been done before. But this beats the first Avengers in my opinion.
It's really weird because it's like when things get going, you start to think, well, when are they going to fall? When are they going to stumble? When are we going to start seeing cracks in the facade? And you don't. They just don't really have them. And if they do, there's so many other awesome things that are taking your eyes away from them that you don't even care. And that's what Avengers has kind of done. And really taking, let's call them conservative if you don't want to get into very ancillary categories of people here, 15 plus stars and juggled them with aplomb.
Yeah.
It's really kind of amazing. For as much, pat on the back as Joss Whedon has always gotten for being, great with ensemble casts, the Russo brothers have taken that, and sorry, Joss Whedon, they've stomped Whedon in the dirt. At his own game.
I don't want to say that.
I will say it.
I mean, look, it's not a zero-sum game here. Like, what Whedon did is amazing. But also what the Russo brothers did is amazing.
It's like if Chuck Yeager didn't break the sound barrier, then we wouldn't have planes that go Mach 7 now. Exactly. But the Mach 7 plane, of course, stomps the ground with the Bell X-1, but you still need that guy to be brave enough to go up there and do it the first time. But here's what I want to say.
You didn't read my book in 2018 called Chuck Yeager's a Wuss?
Oh, man, I've got a picture of me and Chuck Yeager I found the other day.
Still alive, by the way.
Yes, lives up the road from me.
It still could probably whoop the ever-living crap out of me.
I'm joking. He lives in California, but I just thought it'd be funny if I said he lived up the road from me. But anyway.
Tell him I said hey.
Avengers Infinity War did something else that maybe because you have two directors, it's a little easier to do, but the number of small subplots that they handled well just blew me away that none of them felt tacked on or cut short. I mean, the little story of Hulk being afraid to come back out and Bruce Banner being Bruce after for the longest time Bruce was afraid to come out in Ragnarok. They switched roles there a little bit. The relationship, still the lingering relationship issues between Captain America and Tony Stark. And then the new father-son relationship where Tony has a chance to sort of amend for the sins of his own father with Peter Parker, and he just blows it like as bad as possible. Here's my chance to try to be a good father figure, and I just got this kid killed. Okay, good for me. Lots of other little things are going on here. The whole Gamora Thanos storyline, the Gamora Star-Lord storyline. I mean, they've got lots of just small stories that I'm so compelled about that any one of these could have carried a movie, and they're all there, and they just work so well. The Vision Scarlet Witch thing. I mean, it's just amazing. Going back basically to what you said, Adam, with a cast this large, they found something meaningful to do with everyone where it seems like this movie should have been 8 hours long, and it wasn't.
And yeah,
think about, a couple times, the other part, too, they did something wonderful. Again, where when Captain America shows up, it is a big deal.
Yeah. When
Thor shows up, that is a big deal. How did they pull that off? It's so wonderful how good those guys are at their job. And Peter Dinklage, even his small role was so much fun. I mean, there's just so much they handled here.
Small big role. Anyhow, but yeah, that's Avengers Infinity War. I think is pretty much the solid answer here. I mean, but wow, what a good year for theater new releases we've gotten, man.
But Venom was a close second.
Yeah, agreed.
Shocking. All right, so a couple other quick categories here. Biggest surprise of 2018. We have, first up, Into the Spider-Verse was actually a good movie. Next is Netflix canceling the Marvel shows, how poorly Solo did at the box office, or that Venom isn't the worst movie ever made. This is a tough one. This is because all of these were just like, they seem to have such inevitable conclusions before they even happened.
Yeah. I think I kind of felt like there was going to be a stumble with Solo. I think that there's some ill will that goes all the way back to the prequels that was finally, people were sort of getting a little bit fed up.
Yo, but for real, we don't like it.
And it's sad because Solo deserved more people to go watch it in the theater than they did, but it was more of a protest against the franchise and the direction as a whole than it was against that particular movie, unfortunately. But I kind of saw that coming a little bit. I'm not going to say I knew it was going to be that way, but I wasn't as shocked by that as I was shocked when I heard that Daredevil was being canceled on Netflix, because there was a period about 4 years ago where we thought that the Marvel TV shows on Netflix were going to take Netflix to the most solid ground it's ever been on and give it success that other streaming services could never hope for. And now, just a few years later, that's all evaporated, just like Thanos snapped his fingers and did away with all those shows.
That's a good visual.
Yeah.
So that's my biggest surprise, is the Netflix thing.
I think for me, it's got to go with Venom not being an utter piece of garbage. It's like Sony, a studio that couldn't find its butt with both hands, put out a movie in the Spider-Man universe without Spider-Man, and it didn't, stink to high heaven. What gives? There's nothing about that adds up. And somehow they did it. And I can't believe I'd say that I would watch another Venom film, even if it were saying Spider-Man. But by the third one, y'all better have the Spider-Man for real, though.
Well, it'll be made up for with Woody Harrelson's awesome wig.
Oh my
man,
gosh, that wig is
The sad
fantastic.
thing is, Woody Harrelson won't be in Venom 2. He'll be in Carnage 1.
Now you're going to get that Carnage movie that you always been talking about. I honestly, you know what I'm looking forward to? I'm looking forward to people possibly eating their words on Carnage. I think everyone has always really wanted a Carnage, and I don't know. I don't foresee that going well.
If it's Woody Harrelson, it's probably going to be pretty great.
It'll be something. Oh, it'll be something.
Especially if he's still wearing Mara's wig in the movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like we've all known what Woody's hairline is for the past 30 years, and all of a sudden they're just like, nah, homie, he's wearing a Prince Ronald McDonald perm hair that's just red.
And I really want him just to not even care about it. Like, have a scene where he's like jumping off of a milk crate and he has to hold on to the wig so it doesn't fly off or gets crooked and he has to adjust it during the scene. Like, I just want him to go kind of I'm going to get you sucker style with that.
Oh,
movie.
that's really good.
Now it's
for
my
me,
most
for me, the biggest surprise of this year is how bad Solo did. I thought that Star Wars had that same thing that the Transformers movies had, where it doesn't matter. It's just they're always going to make money, always. And so it was shocking that, it didn't do well. It that really did stun me, because when you think of how bad some of those Star Wars movies were in the 90s, it's just like, wow, that is stunning.
And every one of them
Solo did that poorly.
Every one of those bad prequels set successive box office records.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, crazy. But like I said, I think it's like 10, 15, 20 years of fan problems in many directions. Some coming from the fans, some coming from the studio, some coming from Lucas. All kind of came to a head, and Solo is who paid the price for it.
Yep, I agree.
I think we all paid the price.
That's the funniest thing you've said in 2018, Adam.
Thank you.
Save the best for last.
Yeah, I like to hone it all in and just kind of let it go when it needs to.
Well, because you said it with that 20-yard stare behind your voice.
That was true.
I think we all paid the price for that one.
Next category here, things you'd like to see happen in 2019, and here are the nominees. What's that? You never thought there could be nominees for things that you'd like to see happen? How about you shut up and stop being wrong? Here are the nominees. Stop rebooting. Or next up, DC, you need to get your crap together. Or what Marvel has planned for the future? What would you like to see happen in 2019?
Well, I'd kind of like to see DC, Warner Brothers, hire 7 new directors who haven't done much, maybe a couple of local commercials, put them in 7 different cities, 1 on each continent, including Antarctica, not let them communicate with any way, shape, or form, have each of them make a DC movie that they're going to somehow force into a connected universe, because that would probably have better continuity than what they're giving us now.
Bruce, do you have something to tell us about your current line of work?
Well, I will be moving to Antarctica, but I can't say anything about why. So
Fair
I'll get
enough.
back to you guys in 15 months.
Good.
Well, here's what I think that DC needs to do to fix to course correct, right? First of all, you have Wonder Woman in charge of the Justice League. It's stupid that you didn't put her in charge, because she is your most popular movie character now. You know, when Marvel was going to put together the Avengers, they didn't think that Iron Man was going to be the big lead in that movie. They got that way because Iron Man became such a huge success.
It kind of had to be almost.
So, you know, right now, judging by audience reaction, you know, just watching these movies that I've seen over the break here, the Christmas break here, I've been in the movie theater way more than I have been in the last 6 months. And hearing audience reaction to Shazam, seems like Shazam is probably going to be a big deal.
Yeah.
And so now you have 3 DC characters that are successful movies. I mean, I don't like Aquaman, but that is a successful movie. Mm-hmm. And so you now have three legit, honest to goodness successes. I think you have Superman take some time off. I think you have Batman take some time off, and you just get funky with your choices.
Plastic Man, I've been saying it for almost 44 years now.
He'll never
Plastic
stop.
Man needs a movie.
Who would you cast as Plastic Man?
Well, right now, I would probably feel like it's an uninspired choice, but I would cast the guy that's playing Ralph Dibny on The Flash, man. He is playing Plastic Man, even though they call him Elastic Man, and I like what he brings to the role. I think he'd be a good Eel O'Brien. But my dream casting, you'd have to turn back the clock, because, you know, I've said time and time again that Bruce Campbell should have made that movie in his glory days.
I'm just very surprised you didn't say Zac Efron.
No, now I say the guy that played my friend Dahmer for the young person. So Austin from Austin and Alley is who I want to do it.
I think that the guy who I wanted to play Solo from I'm
Supernatural?
out of words. Yeah, the guy from Supernatural. I think that he would be a great Eel O'Brien. O'Brien? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that he would be a great Plastic Man as well.
I just want to see the ego that would happen. I'm putting in my vote for Jim Carrey. I don't think it'd be good, but I'd like to see the ego trip involved.
Once again, I think he's aged out of it, but he already made Plastic Man. They just called it The Mask.
That's true. I'm just, you know.
I mean, honest to goodness, the best, if we could just go through time, the very best Plastic Man of all time would be who his face is designed on.
Rich Little.
Dick Van Dyke.
Yeah. Hard to argue with that. I was going to say Charlie Chaplin did some good physical comedy. Buster Keaton.
I'd say.
If we're going all time, I mean, honestly, they did good physical comedy. But, yeah, it'd be hard to beat Dick Van Dyke. You'd have the personality, too. Young Dick Van Dyke.
Yeah.
Honestly, my biggest thing is we're about, from what the rumors are saying, about a month away from having this Marvel Disney's Fox closeout and finish everything up. And it's going to happen in one way, shape, or form, but man, I cannot wait to see the balancing act that they're going to do for this, man, because it's going to be something else. To really try to, are they going to go whole hog and just be like, all right, we're going to integrate what we've got in the best way that we know how, or are they going to start fresh and new? And if so, what does that look like? You know, Deadpool rather is so popular, doesn't feel like you could get rid of that. But the X-Men, that could, Fantastic Four bloody well sure could use, something. But I don't know. I can't wait to see. It won't happen all in one foul swoop, of course, but where it goes, I'm down to see.
I think one of the first moves they do is they introduce Reed Richards just as a scientist, kind of the way they dealt with Goliath. And we don't talk much about him being Mr. Fantastic. And he's there in his capacity as this brilliant scientist, and they don't touch on it. Then something is not working out so well for him by the end, and they have one of these end credit scenes where he's sitting at his desk and his arm just stretches all the way across the room, grabs a phone, he makes a call, and he says, I think we're going to have to get the band back together. Then on the other end, you see an orange rocky fist holding the other phone, but you don't see anything else. And then that's the end of that cutscene.
And it's a Bakelite phone, and he breaks it with his giant hand.
Bakelite, that's awesome. Can't you see, though, the big thing that's probably going to end up happening? Because with Thanos' defeat, eventual defeat here, he's got to be defeated in Endgame. Can't you see the end credit scene being the next big bad, which is going to be Galactus?
I would hope so, but I don't know, are we going to get there in time?
Right.
If we don't get there in time, the next big bad is Annihilus. But that could always be played off as a curveball later on. I mean, they're going to have to go with Annihilus, I think, at this point from what they're setting up in universe. But then when it comes down to it, it could turn out Annihilus is actually running from Galactus. But I just don't know if they're going to have the timeline to get that Galactus teaser at the end. Not to mention the whole original Thanos teaser was just a joke. Nobody knew where this was going at that point in time, which is awesome.
Yeah, it's to the point where they're just like, oh, we've got to actually cast somebody for this role now. Get it together.
Yeah. Not only was it a joke, but it was a joke that was made before they understood that Marvel and Disney didn't fully own the rights to Thanos, that Jim Starlin retained some of those rights. So he loves that. At least according to him. Name drop there.
According to that mailbox money, it does. I'll bet.
Yeah.
Hey, look at this. I paid for rent again. And last one here before we get to any possible re-reviews or anything. Which comic book character won 2018? Yeah, we've seen a lot of stuff, man, but what kind of stood out for you as the most? I'll say it because I'll follow up because we're right on the hot heels of it here, man. Thanos. Thanos has changed so much, and again, it's one of those things where your average person didn't know who Thanos was, and that's a household name now. Being snapped away is a meme. That's the world we live in now, dude, and it's crazy. So Thanos for 2018, 100%.
Yeah, I thought I had an original thought with that because that's who I chose as well. Yeah, for every reason that you just said. And when you have, even on Etsy, you can buy knitted Infinity Gauntlets now. That's ridiculous, man. That's a level of popularity and a character that wasn't even that popular to begin with. So I think that he's the winner as well.
Well, I'm glad I got to go last because I have the right answer. And, it took to the very end of the year. And you know how, with those Oscar award things, that they always like to save the movies they think are going to win for late in the year so they're fresh in your memory. Well, the superhero who was going to win was saved for late in the year because there has been this rumbling, grumbling undercurrent of diehard comic book fans who know what the world needs. And they all managed to reach a climax of sorts when finally Peter Porker, the spectacular Spider-Ham, made his big screen debut. Now school teachers are going out and getting tattoos of Peter Porker.
What?
Ladies, yeah. There's the Church of Spider-Ham that's getting started up. Wars have actually ended around the world over a mutual love of the spectacular Spider-Ham. And it's only a matter of time till not only does he get a solo movie, but I'm calling it now, live-action solo movie. So if you've got a very talented actor pig, get ready because he's going to get a chance to star in a big picture. Peter Porker, the spectacular Spider-Ham.
You know what, Sean? This show has gone on 5 years now. There's less and less that surprise me, and frankly, you don't see my face change at all come that last 2.5 minutes worth of dialogue there, now did you? It's all the same. What do you know?
it's very surprising that what they pulled off this year, what Sony pulled off. I mean, having Into the Spider-Verse be just so great. It's so great. And Venom, although, you know, it's no one's favorite movie, but it is a good movie.
Better than it has any right to be, for sure.
Absolutely. And so, you know, it does, like you said earlier, it does suck that Sony has got it together, because now that means that we're not going to be able to see any of that stuff in the Marvel universe in a year or two here. That sucks. I hate that. But I mean, that's the world we live in.
I'm even worried they're going to get so much swagger going, they're going to pull Spider-Man out of the MCU after Endgame.
See, here's... I don't know.
Well, he's still got. There's still Homecoming, or not Homecoming.
Far From Home.
Far From Home. I mean, that's the next thing. But after that, I mean, that's it, right?
As far as I know.
We'll see.
I hate it.
But, you know, we've had a fantastic year here that we've looked back on at 2018. And so the only thing, with that in the rearview mirror, the only thing before us is 2019. And so now we're coming across our last category of the evening here, and that's most anticipated. Man, you thought we had a pretty good year last year? Check out 2019. Here's the nominees.
This is just for movies.
These are just movies. I mean, this doesn't even encapsulate television. Again, can you believe that we started this show when we were like, I don't know if we're going to have enough juice to get enough programs in
so
weekly.
Man.
We can't fill them.
In April, we have literally 1 week off from the movie theater.
It's
because
insane.
There are 3 comic book properties landing in April.
So let's rock them down here. We've got Glass, Attila Battle Angel, Captain Marvel, Shazam, Hellboy, Avengers Endgame, Dark Phoenix. I don't know what you had for this one, Bruce. Untitled Fox/Marvel film #1. Is that something
that's just what Box Office Mojo has? It has a release date like late spring, early summer.
We think they'll put something out.
Well, good luck, guys.
We hope to gather a script by next week, maybe. Who knows? Men in Black International, which I got to say, that teaser trailer, not bad. I liked it.
Yeah, it looks good.
Spider-Man Far From Home, New Mutants. We'll see if that ever gets out of the oven. Joker, Untitled Kingsman movie, Star Wars Episode 9, and there's a Masters of the Universe movie that's coming out next year, maybe?
Okay, it's got a release date of December 2019. So far, not a single person is cast, and it's listed as pre-production on IMDb, but it has a release date of December 2019.
First of all, that's where movies that don't have openings go when they've got to place it someplace, and Sean knows this. They'll just put it at a particular place at the end of the year and just go, that's our release date. They never in any way, shape, or form plan to have anything there, but they've got to have something to show to shareholders or somebody to let them know that, we're working. They're not working. No way in Blue Blazes that comes out.
If they don't cast Dolph Lundgren as the King of Eternia, they're doing it wrong.
Hey, man, he did a good job in Aquaman there, so
he
he's
was
got a little bit of cred,
Aquaman.
dog. So I'm about
Do they cast Courtney Cox, though?
Oh, that's right. I totally forgot.
Why not?
I totally forgot she's in that.
Maybe that's a 2019
film. Man, what a terrible, terrible movie.
I think we make a pact on the release date that they have listed. We watch the old canon films, Masters of the Universe, since we don't think this is actually going to be released.
Done and done. At least that gives us a while. Man, this is a tough thing because this list is really, really fantastic.
Yeah, there's so many.
I gotta go. I think I gotta go Endgame though, just because I want to see how this really, within this being the 10th year of Marvel Cinematic Universe and everything, this really feels like, for lack of a better term, an end point for this series. And after this is going to be something wildly different. So I really want to see how, I'm sure they're going to stick the landing for this last one, and then what that's going to lead us into for the future. And the way that Marvel's been doing stuff, I've got all the confidence in the world that they know what they're doing. I just can't wait to sit back and just be thoroughly entertained.
Well, yeah, it's hard to argue with anything you said, though I'm extremely curious if Untitled Fox Marvel Film 1 will finally be X-Men Origins Blob that I've been holding out for.
One can hope. One can hope. And with Disney money behind it, it'll be the movie you want it to be, buddy.
Yeah.
Brad Pitt is the Blob.
I love it.
You've seen what he can do in Benjamin Button. Now see what they do when we add a giant CGI fat suit to Brad Pitt. It's the Blob, the movie.
I mean, there's so many things on this list that I want that I'm so excited to see.
Gosh, and Spider-Man, though, it's just like, again, it's so tough. There's so many good things, possible good things on the horizon.
My kids are definitely most excited for Spider-Man. I'm most curious probably about Joker, just because it's the closest on the schedule. I'm getting some short-term excitement for Glass. But at the end of the day, out of all those things, there'll be many great things to talk about. But Avengers Endgame is the only movie that is consequential. Like a lot of these, most Star Wars Episode 9 will be very consequential. But a lot of these movies, if they're awful, so what? And if they're great, well, that's good. Yeah. But Avengers Endgame, I feel like all of the, 10 years of invested fandom is on the line here.
Yeah.
And I just feel like there's stakes for some reason.
And the best part is you've got the Russo brothers behind it, and man, oh man, they're just batting 1,000 over here. So you just got nothing but the biggest hope in your heart for it.
Well, while you guys were jibber jabbering away, I was trying to think of the last time that I remembered not liking a Marvel movie, and the last one I can think of where I. And I'm the odd man out. I didn't think Doctor Strange was that great, but that's the last time where I was like, man, that could have been better. That's how good they are at their job now.
And even you admit when you compare that to most other superhero films, still pretty darn good.
Yeah, agreed. Totally agree. And before that, what's the misstep before that? Thor 2, maybe?
Yeah.
I mean, we're going back. It has been a long time since they laid a goose egg. And I hate doing this, but I think that I have all the confidence in the world that Endgame is going to be as good as we want it to be. I think it hasn't happened. It hasn't happened in forever where you're like, man, that really sucks.
It almost seems like they'd have to try to suck.
And it's the thing they do best. It's there's a ticking clock. There's massive stakes on the line. It's these people who you're probably not going to see a lot of them in these roles again. I mean, it's everything that you want in a superhero movie, honestly.
And one thing that's got me scared is I have a very specific story I've played out in my head. And if it doesn't follow that storyline, it's going to take me a minute to process it. Like if it doesn't sort of closely follow what I fully think ought to happen, I'm going to have to take some time and separate myself from what I've already sort of come at peace with, and then try to look at it objectively again. And then if it does follow what I got pictured, then I have to say, do I like it, or do I just like it because I knew where it was going? So there's just so much weird stuff with this that I've never brought into a movie before.
It's true. And I'll tell you, I had that very thing you're talking about happen with Infinity War for me, where I was expecting something else. So it took me a hot minute in order to come around and go, oh, actually, this is really, really great. And so, if that has to happen again, it'll happen again. But think of all the little stuff in Infinity War that's so great. Dax saying that he moves so slowly that people can't see him when he's eating chips. All of those little moments like that. Or Rocket talking about how he's eventually going to end up taking Winter Soldier's arm from him.
Oh, I'm going to get that on.
All of that stuff. But all of those little bits in this movie where, if played incorrectly, it's just a travesty what happens. But that isn't what we got. We got this really incredible, amazing movie. And there's no reason to think that isn't going to happen again.
And this whole story started with Iron Man, in 2008. So this movie has to end Tony Stark's arc, and I think it has to end it with finality. So we'll see.
Yeah. I agree.
It's kind of I can't believe we live. I say it a lot, but it's true. I can't believe the world we live in is that we get all this awesome stuff. If you'd have shown, I'm glad that I grew up with only just a smattering of superhero things, because I think if I grew up in this time, I wouldn't care as much.
Well, think of all the things that we don't even see that are superhero related. That's the time we live in now.
Yeah.
In only 10 years, there have almost been as many Tony Stark movies as there are James Bond movies. Wrap your head around that. How would you have thought about that in 1986?
I know. It's nuts, man. Right now there is an entire universe of superheroes that I have not watched a second of. I have not seen any of the Berlanti stuff at all. Of the Arrowverse, I haven't watched any of that at all this year.
No, I haven't watched it. Again, it goes down to having time. Now, at least Bruce keeps himself busy enough to where on Chubby Wizard he can talk about stuff. So I feel like you're probably up on it more than Sean and I for sure. But I love the Flash. Did I watch any Flash this season? Maybe 2 episodes, maybe.
That show just has the feel of it's gone completely off the rails and we're missing nothing. That's how it feels.
If you're going to go back and check something out, it's Legends. Believe it or not, the one that got off to a rocky start is far and away the best thing going on in the Berlanti universe this season. Huh. And that's the one. It's off the rails, but in the beautiful way.
I think of the 3 of us at the time, I was probably the most positive on that, and I never went back to any of it. So that goes to show you.
And you look at something like what the X-Men universe has right now. They have 2 movies in the can that have been in the can for almost a year, and they're not releasing them.
They just don't know what to do with them.
What do we do with these 2 things?
But they're like,
There was a scene in the mid-season finale on Legends of Tomorrow where the phone's ringing in their time machine, and they go, "Who's that?" "Oh, it's the Flash and Arrow. Probably want us for that annual crossover." "No, thanks. That's a hard pass." And then the Legends did not participate in the crossover, which was awesome.
That's awesome, man.
Yes.
So with that stuff. So has Black Lightning finally ended up in that universe yet?
No, but next year the crossover is called Crisis on Infinite Earths, and I think that might be when they pull that in along with who knows what else.
Yeah.
How was the most recent one, and is that crossover dealy, and is that something that would behoove us in any way, shape, or form to review on the show? I probably shouldn't be asking this on the show.
It's their best crossover so far. It pulled in. They went beyond just the Berlanti verse to pull in John Wesley Shipp's '90s Flash, and they also pulled in Smallville from the old WB network.
What?
Yeah. So there's talk that Crisis on Infinite Earths is going to try to pull in something even crazier, like maybe Gotham, maybe try to pull in Titans from the online streaming. Like they're really wanting to try to anything that's ever been a DC live action property. They may have interest in trying to pull it into this Crisis on Infinite Earths because they're just straight out doing the whole multiverse where anything is possible.
I can't believe
like
that
the Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse.
The thing that got that over the years, I mean, if you think about it in this way, that has gotten DC in so much trouble with the idea of multiverses and everything, may be the thing that ends up saving their bacon.
Yeah,
that's really weird.
They definitely could pull in Birds of Prey. There's lots of low-hanging shows that didn't last real long. They could pull stuff in from that's going to have the kind of fan base watching the Berlanti universe enjoys.
Well, we may have to cover that then come this next year. But there'll be all kinds of stuff to come next year. And honestly, I think we're all pretty excited about it. And, what do you say we do this another year, boys?
Why not?
Sure.
Good deal.
My calendar's open.
I know what you mean. So that is it for 2018, everybody. Join us next week for 2019 and a whole brand new year of Hero Movie Podcast. In the meantime, Bruce, where can more of people find work of yours on the internet?
Chubby Wizard, man. That's the place to go right now. We'll be having our Chubby Awards coming up soon where we do something like this only for comic books.
The Chubbies.
Oh, the annual Chubbies. Thank heavens.
Every year we love to give our listeners our Chubbies, and it's coming up. We'll have those nominees out the next episode, I'm hoping, and then the winners the week after that, because unlike HMP, we actually put polls out and have people vote, and then we see which one got 7 votes, and that's the winner.
But well, all right. I'm moving on because I got so much stuff in my head that just is not suitable for this
I
podcast.
think that you just broke Adam.
So I'm just moving on. Sean, do you have anything to declare?
No, not yet. I got something big coming, but not yet. On to you, sir.
So the film find, the holiday season has had me working like a madman, but I've seen a ton of movies, and Krista and I, once I get a day off coming up very soon, thank heavens, we'll be releasing an episode, and I'll talk about the 85 movies that I've seen in the meantime. By the way, I think I'm up to 106 movies for 2018. It's 2018 films, by the way.
Does that include Watson and Holmes?
No, those Watson and Holmes and the Mary Poppins are going to be my New Year's Eve films. For the last couple of years on New Year's Eve, I've watched a movie. Last year I actually did a triple feature on New Year's Eve, but this year I'll just be doing 2. But yeah, it's what I do now. Instead of going to any parties or being, social, I go sit in a dark theater by myself.
Are you going to save Mary Poppins for last because Holmes and Watson's going to put you in a bad mood?
I hear from I asked my niece who went to go see it, and she wasn't overly impressed with Mary Poppins. So when you can't even get a 7-year-old on board, I don't know.
Yeah, but you're such a sucker for musicals, man.
I am, though, so I probably will. But yeah, that's Mary Poppins is going to be last for sure.
Marwen.
I enjoyed Marwen.
Good.
Maybe not amazing, but I enjoyed it for what it was. I think it's very. Well, I'll talk about it over on the Film Find.
Yeah, and talk about the documentary too.
Yeah, and this is the second Robert Zemeckis film where he goes, "I saw a documentary. Now I want to make a feature film on it." So,
yeah.
It's a weird category, but he seems to be the guy that's doing it. So check that out in the Film Find episode, probably midweekish this week and everything, because I'm working my tailbone off here, everybody. But we're doing it for you people over at H&P. And again, we do it for all the people that listen, support the show, review us on iTunes, guys. We always appreciate that. And of course, the lovely people over at patreon.com/HMP. By the time you're listening to this, you got one more day to go over there and sign up for the new month. So, get on that, everybody, and get yourself some little HMP goodness. That is it. Join us in 2019 for Sean Koufax, Bruce Leslie. I'm Adam Portrais. For 2018, stay super, everybody.
Bye, Marty and Evie. When I said, I was like, oh, that's great. That's great. That's exactly what that needed to be. It's more along the lines of the teaser of Ant-Man and Wasp, where it's just Michael Douglas going ants, and they're like ants. It's like that.
I'm like, well, we just let them do whatever they want to do, and we don't care.
Oh man.
Yeah. What's Douglas doing again? Look, he's 188 years old. Just let him have it. By the way,
he looks great.
His dad just turned 103, still kicking. Kirk Douglas still alive. Unbelievable.
Is he really still alive, or is just nobody checked lately?
No. He's still alive. There's a picture of him. I just saw a picture of him.
There are these celebrities that I wonder, maybe just nobody's checked on him in a while. Who knows? They could have been dead 6 months.
I loved him. He was I think it was 2 years ago when he was on, it may have been longer than that, but at least 2 years ago when he was on the Oscars, and it was him and Angelina Jolie and some other hot lady. And it was just, he was almost trying to make some sort of sexual innuendo comment, but he's just on that verge of, I can't really even speak that well anymore, that it was just so slow. It was just like watching a slow motion car wreck. It was sad.
And still, he signed on for Spartacus too.
Yeah, man. When you've got the ghost of Kubrick coming back, that's what you're going to do.
But yeah, think about it when Steve Ditko was dead for 4 or 5 days before it became public knowledge, and I kind of wondered if that was one of those situations, because he was such a hermit. If maybe he'd been dead in his apartment for a couple of days, nobody had checked on him.
Look, when I die, don't tell nobody, okay?
Oh, Bruce, I saw this thing today on YouTube about how perhaps It came from. Have you seen that thing where the costume for Spider-Man might have been?
Yeah, there was a Halloween costume that predates the design, but it was like yellow and black instead of red and black. Right. And if you can get that original, the Spider-Man, I think is what it was called. It's worth like thousands of bucks. But yes, I am aware.
And it was designed by Kirby.
Yes, and Kirby also did the redesign on the cover for the first Spider-Man too. So Kirby had a lot more. I won't say a lot more. Kirby did a lot of Spider-Man that Ditko never was real eager to acknowledge. I'll just put it that way. But there is, for this coming year, and you guys probably already know this, but I only recently found out, but there is an episode of The Incredible Hulk, the old Incredible Hulk, where Jack Kirby plays a police sketch artist, and I'd like to cover that one. I'll get the exact episode info later.
Ooh, wow, that's great.
Yeah, I think that because his cameo predates Stan Lee's first cameo too, so that's just kind of cool, trivia.
Yeah, that
could have been. We just put him in everything. Why not?
Yeah, has that Batman on Titans come out yet?
Yeah,
it has.
Yeah, Titans is done. The season is done for now.
Have you seen it?
Yeah. I watch Titans every week.
Is it good?
No.
No.
It gets interesting. I mean, what I liked about Smallville is what I like about Titans. I don't care that much for the story, but I'm getting to see live action versions of characters that I haven't really gotten to see before. And that's kind of why I watch. But man, they really think they really expect the audience to be way into Hawk and Dove. I'll just put it that way. You got a lot more Hawk and Dove than I thought you needed. And I think that the budget wasn't up to what they needed to do Trigon justice, to be honest, because Trigon is just, they do the thing where the devil takes on a human form, so they don't have to have a big CGI monster on the screen.
Right.
But, I don't know. It's not, I watch it out of curiosity. I'm actually eager to watch it, but I would never say I've enjoyed it, but I always make a point to watch it. So I don't know how to describe my feelings about it. Don't like what they've done with Dick Grayson at all, but I keep thinking they've got a chance now at the end of this season to course correct, because he still hasn't become Nightwing. And it ended with a teaser that Con-El, the genetic clone version of Superboy, is going to be on next season, who I love that character, and Crypto, the super dog.
Oh, that's great.
Anytime you can get a dog with a cape on, Bruce is going to be there shortly behind.
Yep. All right, guys, I'm going to get off here and go yell at my kids or something.
All right, man.
It's about time they got a little something.
Hey, happy New Year.
What are we doing next week? What are we doing next week?
Do you want to do that crossover?
Elseworlds?
Yeah.
If you guys can, it's on the CW app, and I don't even think you have to have a cable login or anything. I think you can just watch the CW app, and it's only 3 episodes, 3 hours minus commercial time. I would love to do it because I've already seen it, and it's like no work for me.
All right, let's try to see that.
Okay.
There you go. All right. Works for me. Talk to you guys soon.
All right, gentlemen.
See you guys.
Adios.
Well, that's it, everybody. Thank you for joining us on this extra long special edition of Hero Movie Podcast. Again, if you'd like that pre-show, post-show, and Dinger Zone, as you heard in this episode, you can get that and so much more, including like voting on movies that we watch and stuff, over at patreon.com/HMP. Again, ultimately, I get teased for it, but value for value. If we give some value to your work week, day, however, just whatever you're doing, man, if this podcast brings you some sort of joy or entertainment or anything else like that, instead of spending, that $5 at Starbucks this week, head on over to patreon.com/HMP and help this show and, be a patron of the arts, everybody. That's what patreon.com/HMP is for. And thank you guys once again for helping us out all through 2018. And here's to 2019. We'll see you guys next week.